2 o'clock on a Monday afternoon that's turning into a nicely positive one thanks to tech, largely right across the board, back to the upside. I was keeping an eye on American Airlines here. I was reading through this entire story. This is just the headline, but the entire story. But that's what AAPL is doing today. Looks a little bit like a buyout stock, as it did back on Friday as well. Not a heck of a lot of volatility, not a heck of a lot of movement, even as they look to, anyways, have come to a new agreement with their pilots. Here, however, is the NASDAQ, took out that high from this morning and hasn't looked back. We just pulled in a little bit, but trying to bounce once again for the Qs. Back in positive territory to the tune of 1.3%, even as, Treasury yields to the upside in a big way today. We took out the highest level since 2007 on the 10-year early on this morning. Hasn't looked back either. We'll see how the rest of the afternoon plays out, but all ahead of what's to come later in the week with the Jackson Hole Symposium. Jerome Powell going to make some comments coming up on the 24th. We'll see how the market reacts to that. If you remember, we were touching on a little bit this morning. That was the day that kind of kicked off that last leg to the downside for the overall market during the sell-off after last year. So we'll see how we play out. Here is how the S&P 500 looks right now. A huge day for some of the chip names. Nvidia 6.5%. More positive analyst moves, more upgrades, reiterations of strong forecasts to come for Nvidia on the AI front. Broadcom 4.5%, AMD better part of 2%, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Meta, list goes on and on. They're all in positive territory. There was a note this morning on Adobe that the co-founder, I think it was, or co-creator, passed away over the weekend. So a bit of a sad note. He was 82 years old. Great life, obviously, but a bit of a sad note for Adobe. 6.4% for Tesla, as Sharif is looking to buy a $31 million, whatever that was, car. Convertible. Doesn't even have a roof, Sharif. Crazy. Energy stocks, meanwhile, some of the pharmaceutical names, consumer names, also in negative territory. Banks are red, right across the entire board. So there is some downside in the overall market. As I mentioned this morning, guys, you take away tech, and we're basically red right across the entire board. But tech doing the heavy lifting today. So
Rose Noir is the name of the vehicle, first of all. I mean, like, I wasn't even in the conversation. Sean and I weren't even in the conversation, and we're not forgetting the Rose Noir. $31 million.
I almost feel like that was a mistake, but
$31 million.
I think it's right. And the thing is, Brendan, the thing about convertibles is, it may not have a roof in the picture, but I'm sure you can push a button.
No, they don't do that.
A roof may magically.
Sean, stop messing with me.
I'm thinking in the future.
Stop messing with me.
Not,
you're talking about like 20.
It's like my trades. Like, I'm not here right now.
2078.
I'm ahead.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm just thinking, like, eventually they may be able to.
You can't do that. Like, that's engineering out of a science fiction.
Well,
like, that's what I read about on the train.
Right.
The science
I know.
fiction
well,
thing.
Hey, I mean, this is why I'm trying to get creative a little bit here.
What's going on? It doesn't have a roof.
Anyways, it never ends.
You guys, I have no idea why everybody was talking about the Rose Noir. It's maybe there's a story that we missed.
I think Max is driving them around. There's actually that. Go ahead. Yeah.
No,
I have a story about a Lambo.
I have no idea what that was about, but the Lambo trade, I suppose, would have just been to go long Nvidia today, as this is now up 6% and going and going and going, and it's just gonzo. I actually had a couple of longs on the way. I just wish I had held on to something. We went into a meeting and I trailed out of a 55 breakout, which is probably a bad idea. Man, it sucks. I should have had a wider stop on that. Although, you know what? I think I might have got a bad wick on some of these dark pools. I have no idea how far underneath 455 it got there, but I had it off VWAP, had that too, like 454. But this should have been a long at least a couple of times, if not back in here at 455. Step away, you set a stop. That's part of setting a stop order. You're not going to hold it against you forever, and it probably would have gone back against me there. But Nvidia up that 6%. Like, where do you think we're headed today? I mean, these lower highs, you've already busted through 60. On the daily, you got 470. I can't imagine we're seeing 470 today on Nvidia. It's getting so top heavy. But really, like, if you do just hold out past the 60 level, it is a bit of a gap in here since the last time we got to that price. I'm still thinking the market's going to have trouble getting through 15,050 handles. And if that's the case, I'd be looking for at least a couple of turnaround trades there. I am in Meta because that Meta got to that 290. But Nvidia, what a freight train. It just should still be long this one.
I'm going the opposite way right now with AMD. Obviously, AMD is not Nvidia or Meta, but I'm short right now. So I just want to talk about this. I put this up on the 19th, which I think is Saturday. So hear this, Sharif, pay attention here, Sharif. All right, watch this. So this is for you. This is the Lamborghini fully electric SUV, released in 2028, though. So look how this looks.
And it's got a roof.
I mean, it has a roof, and it looks really sick. I don't know how they get away with calling this an SUV, but I mean, this is looking pretty. I mean, come on. This is looking very, very sick. But 2028, so I don't know why they're releasing something that's 5 years away, but this looks pretty dandy.
What's the tag on
if
that?
your name is Randy? I don't know.
I mean, they wouldn't have priced it.
Yeah, there is no tag, but I would say it's probably 400, something like that. I mean, I think their recent SUV, I have to ask Sharif again. He's the one with all the money around here.
But
how much those cost.
If it's 60 of those versus one, what do we call it again? It's the Rose Noir?
Yeah, at the Rose Noir.
Yeah, I'm taking 60 of those.
I don't know about that Rose Noir price. Right there. I did want to show everybody this. Hopefully we could do this pretty soon. We have a cool new TV right here that I stood at. We sort of introduced that. This was really cool. Hopefully we'll be doing some more things here. Make sure you grab our watch list right now. But a nice little TV there. We golfed. It was a fun weekend. Oh yeah, check out this too, Sharif. Did you see this? And Neil, look at this. Don't you think this is overkill a little bit? Like here's the BMW. Look at bam! It's like cleaning that like. The cameras, rear view camera.
No, but that makes sense.
Front. No, it makes sense. I'm just like, look at that. That's a blast right there. Like, how often are you refilling your windshield washer fluid?
No, but it is the thing. The rear camera, especially on my Grand Cherokee, I'm telling you, like in the winter, that rear camera, like it gets absolutely filthy. That is very practical. But
that's like Niagara Falls.
No, but that's fine. That's a very useful feature. I actually have no issues with that.
The only problem is
I'm good with that.
Come back to the screen. I'll just show you. So my only problem is that like you're driving around with this stuff there afterwards. That's all. Like I almost wish that they would have see how it's still there. Like I wonder if it's followed by a thing of water to clear it off. Because like all of a sudden you're driving around a $200,000 BMW or whatever it is, and you got soap running down your back. Anyways. Whatever. All right, back over to the big guys at the big desk.
I like that.
That's a fail. That deserves a fail stamp. Unacceptable. On a 30-degree, on a 30-degree summer day, you're gonna have like this soap stain running down the back of your car. Like that's ridiculous. Let's talk about a few things that we were discussing. If you're with us in the morning, we'll revisit a few ideas that we presented to you. This was one of them. What a move today. Period. End of story for PanW. Earnings better than expected across the board out after the close on Friday. Got above that pre-market high as I think Neil was watching it at the time and just hasn't looked back. Here we go right now again, back to the upside for PanW.
Yeah, I'll let the big kahunas talk about the technical levels, but I'll just tell you what I was involved in. If the 243 hold, it ended up being a flat bottom break and ended up getting stopped out at 241. Should have noticed the signs here, Brendo, lower highs all the way across and a flat bottom. Should have went short.
Still grinding higher, guys, for PanW coming off earnings that were just monstrous. Anyways, 245, 250 might be a bit of a problem, however, if you go to the daily time frame.
Well, I mean, you got to consider how much it was up. Like, I think like that has to have more to do with it than the levels, I want to say. Like, PanW, if you look at what happened, like you had the Fortinet, and then when Fortinet reported, PanW got shellacked, and then everyone was expecting the worst, and really the guide wasn't even that great. But when you beat on that bottom line, it just threw everybody a loop, and there's a lot of people that are probably trying to get into this and essentially missed a chance to buy the dip that they thought was coming after the Friday earnings. And really, the CEO came out and said, "Hey, sorry, we learned something about not maybe scaring everybody by putting the earnings on the Friday, and next time we'll just make a different decision," because it was more of a logistical. They wanted to get it out and at a certain time or before next week. And quite frankly, I wish I was still long it. There was a dip buy that I couldn't take, but if you look at this 235 to 238, that's all I was sort of zeroed in on was after that Fortinet, your bottom here 235, and then the next day you had a 238 top, and it basically set up perfectly in the pre-market that you had the top in here at the 230, in front of that 238. So you're breaking out the high to get past 238, and then you had the 235 was the pre-market support level. So it wicked the bottom, and then held at the open and then took out that top at 38. I stopped out of it back through 243. It then had a cheeky little bounce off 241, which I was a part of. The second time, I should have had it the first time, and then I had it the second time there, unfortunately. And then this was the chance to get back in. It held at this 239. Should have been back in there right about 10:30 and missed out on that trade. I was trading U.S. steel at that time. So I don't think it has a huge move in it left for the day, because it feels like the energy's right now in Nvidia and Meta and a bunch of other names, whereas this has now started to calm down because it's up so much. But a great success story for them. It just goes to show, like, when you have a stock which has a lot of people, parties that are looking to get into an expensive space, sometimes it's going to get chased. And the chase is definitely on with PanW. And oddly enough, it's interesting that when they're up 15%, Sentinel, now there's rumors that Sentinel-1 might be exploring alternatives. Yeah, that's a good day to pick that rumor if you're Sentinel-1. Throw that out there when the leader of the group is already up like 16%. Not a bad day to spark those rumors for a related name getting a buyout deal, but we'll monitor that Sentinel-1 if anything hits the wire.
Yeah, it's an interesting story coming through right there. You talked about it happening, of course, right after PanW comes out with it. So I think that that's a little interesting there. Okay, so the only other name, I mean, whatever. I'm in Google, I'm in AMD short. You can see that on the board. We'll talk about that when it comes up to time. Right now, although they're both decent sized positions, I've been scalping it out. I don't know if there's a big move coming. We're waiting Jackson Hole, and then we're also waiting Nvidia. So we'll have to wait. I mean, I feel like the whole market is on pins and needles right now with just with Nvidia. I don't even know about Jackson Hole being anything. Okay, so I mentioned that CrowdStrike comes out on on August 30th. And there could be a play here. So I brought this name to everybody's attention this morning. I didn't do anything about it, but there's a big bump right away. So from 151 to 152 up to 155. I hope some of you had that, as we did highlight it when it was down here, and I talked about a potential of a crowd to get back up through some of these levels and then even take out highs on reported earnings. So we'll wait to see there August 30th. I still like CrowdStrike. And then as far as Palo Alto, man, I mean, that's going to be a name that you're going to have to keep going into your portfolio back and forth and just try to buy dips, because that name's not getting any better on the valuation side of things, as PE is still relatively out of control, and so it is on Crowd as well. So just so you guys could see, let me see what Trade Ideas has for PanW. Did you look it up? I don't think you talked about it too much. Yeah, there it is, 327. So like,
yeah, it's huge.
You know, I mean, you're talking about buying the market right now at 18 times earnings. I mean, it's going to be quite a jump to get to 327 for Palo Alto. So I could see definitely, despite what I think about the story, that's still Crowd, despite what I think about the story as far as the space, I still love the space. You know, if the market is going to fade, it's going to be some of these names that unfortunately get hit first. So watch out for some of the valuation traps. PanW, I don't think it's a trap, but it definitely is a little overvalued.
All right, Tesla, on the other hand, was a little bit tricky coming out of the gate. I saw this morning, but overall, there was a number of minor, really, headlines we were talking about. I think a lot of people were waiting for maybe a little bit bigger of a dip. Here's Tesla, though, as we speak, crossing 100 million shares traded on the day.
Yeah, it's been a beast today, and it's continuing to go. It's almost a 230 high, guys. We saw a number of headlines, some good, some bad. Looks like they're courting Thailand, and they're looking at Malaysia. They're looking at maybe possibly building a factory there, so that's going to be an interesting look. On the negative side, we saw that there were some leaks from some employees with respect to the efficacy of their full self-driving, which they've tried to rectify. But it's been a good day, up 6 1/3, Brenda.
Perfect. Let's talk about these highs, guys, coming into play. I mean, the premise this morning was more along the lines of 6 days in a row downside. It was due for a bounce.
You can say that again. We were just sort of saying, Sean, like it comes down from 300, right? Like for all the dip buyers out there, like good luck trying to perfectly time dip buying a stock that grinds like that. You're just never going to have the bottom. Like it's going to run through you. Like it ran through multiple levels. It ran through the first level of support. It ran through the 240 area. You had the 220, which is another popular one because that double top. It ran through that on Friday or Thursday, and then the bottom happened to be on Friday. That's just it just so happened to be it. But you get the gap up now, and suddenly I'm leaving in this 240 line because that's sort of where you had the last level of consolidation, and then for a little bit you had the resistance at that 240, 241. Throw in the fact that, really, I do think we're still in a bit of I don't want to say a downward trend, but we're in a pullback. So if we get to a certain point, I think there's probably like a rollover in the weaker names out there. So if we were to see 240, I think that's probably short. But you're in this range now where you get day one, the gap, the hold, the break. I think it can be reasonable that we can get to a 240 level. Caveat, you can throw a lot of stuff out the window if Nvidia misses on Friday, or misses this week on Wednesday. It's just, I could see that turning a lot of things, but there's now room for Tesla to get there. You never want to fight it. I had one trade on it, went into the short off the 226, which I liked, and then just stopped it out at the high. I could have scalped a dollar. I was looking for the VWAP retrace there, and that was pretty much it for me. If it breaks 230 today, if we break 15,000 and hold above that this afternoon at any point, then the 230 breakout seems inevitable on Tesla. The only thing standing in the way is the fact that we are in front of 15,000 on the NASDAQ. And I don't generally like breakout trades. Like taking a long at the high of the day when you're still battling a level like that, I'm not a huge fan of it. If we're taking that level out, I'm only looking long above. Yeah, Tesla was an absolute beast. Just to juxtapose that for a second, because I forgot to look at this stock in the morning, and that's Rivian. Rivian, let's just say it's not as strong. That's a bit of an understatement. So not as strong on the daily. It's not above the 50 period. It's actually right at the 50 period, the high of the day today, about 21.25. So this feels like the EV name that I want to be short, if anything. I don't know if that's going to be today. It probably needs to break this down through the low, but this just couldn't get off the schneid today. When a lot of things have been running and Tesla's having a great day, just kind of I'm noting the relative weakness, in my opinion, on Rivian here, and just sort of saying if it breaks down that bottom and the market versus off this top, I like to break down on Rivian. Like right now, that's 2085. Feels like that's a better short than trying to fight Tesla up at 230.
I'm trying to line up some. I'm trying to line up some people for the after show right now. Man, it never stops working around here. Performance coach. We'll see if we can get some performance coaches to come through for that after show. Okay, I'd still short Google. The thing is that right now I'm at the highest spot I've been at all day, shorting some of these names. So let's just wait. I know the market's up, which is amazing that we're still floating around some of these levels, but patience today wins, that's for sure. So with being patient, I feel like we could definitely look at this 230 breaking. So let's wait to see if it does break. We're going to break it with it. I don't want to step in the way of Tesla, period. I don't care if it's self-driving or not. I don't want to get in the way of it. 230 breaking right there. I think that's a long. If we're wrong, we'll give this at least $1 back in, maybe a little bit more. I just don't want to miss this trade for Tesla. We wrote down long today, and really the prices I wrote 215, 217. I didn't want to be long if there was going to be some dips in the market, but as you can see here in the market today, this is the open. So you tell me where there was dips. I mean, obviously you came right back into it right there, and that could have been bought, but then you're sort of buying. Tesla didn't, like, if those are the dips, it didn't even come close to retracing the way the NASDAQ did. I mean, the NASDAQ gave up the whole day again and came right back to flat before obviously taking off. Tesla didn't even, like, if that's not a sign of strength right there, then, you know, what's up to my Uncle Bob? But Bob's your uncle, because I don't, like, you come back here, that's a 200 period. So I put all these things, you know, up here and then they get lost, but you have to remember, respect some of these lines. A super strong stock pulling back to the 200, pulling back to the 50. Quite frankly, pulling back to VWAP are what you're looking for. So definitely missed opportunity there on Tesla. Regardless of the other positions that I'm in, I'm here for Tesla and breaking that 230 long and then giving it, like I said, we've made good money today, so we'll give this up to at least $1 back in. We could get a break of 230, then it could drift and then go. So let's try to be patient and see what happens here with Tesla trying to go very, very soon.
I just saw this absolutely monster volume spike here on Nvidia. So at the highs, as it took out the highs, that happened. Absolutely huge volume, highest of the day, in fact, right across the board. I mean, this is pretty impressive to say the least. This was one of many this morning. KeyBank jumping on board. HSBC was another one. I mean, the highest, I think, it was 780 now. The price target is the benchmark anyway, ahead of their report coming up on Wednesday. Crazy.
Yeah, and the HSBC analyst who upgraded to 780 is looking at $12 billion in terms of revenue. They guided 11. So, I mean, we're talking about the current quarter, not what Nvidia is going to guide on Wednesday. So, looks like the market knows something we don't know here as orders flow in for their GPUs.
Not sure if that was dark print or real, guys, but wow, tons of volume on Nvidia as well.
Fake.
So yeah, I'm looking at my chart. There was a volume spike. I see it as like the biggest of the afternoon, but it wasn't quite as big. So I'm thinking it was a dark pool that maybe it did show the world on the P-Pro platform, like you can exclude certain prints, and some dark pools will get excluded, some will get shown. I think when you do that, you might get rid of it. Either way, that was a big volume spike. As Nvidia goes to the top, I'll get to that in a second, but I just got to quickly show you. I was in Meta. Remember 290? We said, yeah, if Meta gets to 290, we'll short 290. That was Meta at 290. That's me getting some out at 289, and that's Meta breaking out the high. So I'm out of the Meta short. It was a good one, but Meta is super strong, just like Nvidia is super strong. So I really do think there's nothing wrong with finding a long position into the 15,000. We probably just need to have some kind of a dip. I do not want to be chasing this high into a 15,000 level. Like I said already, I should still be long this. That's on me. I had the idea to go for the dip buy off the 450. I had it. I did not reload it. I took the 55 break. I did not hold on to it. And then when I sat back down for our meeting, I just didn't feel like I wanted to chase, and the chase would have been fine if you had it up here. So, give Nvidia its respect, give it its due. A lot can obviously change when the earnings come out, but for now, the dip buyers are still here, and they're buying this thing en masse, and they're chasing it all the way. I mean, let's look at a 460 for a pullback. That sort of seems obvious looking at the chart. If we dip into there, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Okay, I don't think we had the right stop here, but I mean, AMD just took out the top and then fell as soon as that happened. So that was a little bit strange. So we did wind up getting out of our AMD, which is fine. Not fine. I mean, we'd rather still be in it because it just failed that top. But we do have a new position alert.
Awesome.
So just like we said right here, we got to go like this. Let's see. We're still short Google. I don't know what happened to Nvidia there, or AMD. I feel like it just got pushed up there into those 80s and then fell back 20 cents. So I am not 100% certain what just happened there with that trade, because all of a sudden we got into Tesla and then immediately out of AMD. So I don't know. Now AMD would be a 20 cent winner. But anyways, all good. All right, so here we go. We got in. We got some out there at 35 on Tesla. Unfortunately, when it broke through 230, the price we got was 230.15. So, other people obviously punching that level as it was day high. So we're still fine. I mean, it just sucks. Oh, man, that AMD is really, really a kicker right there, as it just fell right back in. We were averaging into the short, and all was well until it broke out from that day high. And like I said, if you can't, if you can't give yourself an out, it's never going to work. So we gave ourselves an out, and unfortunately, it even goes back. Doesn't it go back to earlier? Yeah, right into there as well. But yeah, I guess that the order was always there. So okay, stretched out there on AMD and out on that one. Still into the short here with Google, as that one almost, I guess, flattened us as well. But no, this one gave me a little bit more room. Anyways, Nvidia, I still feel like that's good. The reason why I sort of harp there on AMD is because we're talking chips. And although AMD is still going to be a very positive name for me today, we are just short it. We've only been short today. Short right there off the pre-break, kind of pre-market break, but it's not really pre-market. It's just the first half hour break down there at 10:30, and then come into here. Nice little trade there. Short 107 roughly. Our best out is 105. We already hit the dollar club on that. Then we started shorting again, which was okay. And then our first loss was just right now, where we got in and out there, despite it apparently working. So that was that. I still like to short in all these names. It's just going to have to work out. I still want to be short until Nvidia earnings. I think we sort of beat that one down a little bit here. So let's move on to Meta.
Yeah, we're getting a web version apparently of Threads. I haven't seen anything today about it, but it was supposed to be this week. Obviously, it was launched mobile. You can only access Threads through a mobile device or a tablet of some sort, but they come out this morning saying that, yeah, the web version is on its way. There's a few other features, including an API we were discussing off camera a little bit, that would be nice as far as getting connected to it. But here's Meta having a nice day at day highs.
Yeah, definitely looking to expand user engagement as it dropped off markedly after the initial launch. A bad headline today for Meta. That was a good headline. They've raised the ire of the Thailand digital ministry, saying that there's a lot of scam ads on their platform. They're accusing Meta of affecting more than 200,000 of its citizens, and they're looking to block Facebook entirely in the country. So Thailand, Southeast Asia's second largest market, apparently.
Yeah, unfortunate to say the least, but still, nice day here, guys, across the board for Meta.
Oh, I'll say it's a good day for Meta. Obviously, you had a bit of a bottom that got made on Friday. We know all about that. A lot of stocks look pretty much the same thing. I was sort of honed in on the 290 level because on Thursday, it was like that morning low, and then everything fell apart in the afternoon, like right when it got. It just went 290 just for the show, it was like $6 to the downside when it broke that 290 level. So getting back up to there, previous broken support, I like turning into resistance. I just got wicked out of it. And when I say wicked out, that's what I mean. I mean, it broke, in earnest, it broke the high of the day by another 20 cents or so, but it just came right back in. I tried to snap back on the offer and didn't get it. I'm not chasing this move. Like, that's a missed opportunity. In front of 15,000, I'm looking for places like resistance levels I like. Meta is still one of them at 290, but it's just unfortunate. Like you were just saying there, Sean. Like, it is what it is. Like, in that situation, I'm always going to have a stop at the high of the day. Like, I'm not really doing it any other way, especially when it's making higher lows and trending up. But you kind of see what's going on here. Sometimes the pullback has to run stops before it makes the big move. And what you try to do is jump right. Once you notice it's a wick top, you just try to jump back into it as quickly as you can. We have the ability to do that at Day Trade the World. We're not under PDT or anything, but you still have to be quick. You'll see that wick out. You're like, oh, it's right back underneath. I should be jumping back into the trade, giving it to the high, and then putting on the same trade, essentially, that I had here. This just resolved itself a heck of a lot faster. The last time it wicked off 290, you had like 5-10 minutes to get into position. This time, you had, like just a minute or two, and you had to be Johnny on the spot. So good day for Meta, but it's at the level that I was looking short all day.
I'm trying to go Serenity now because, oh man, AMD, like stopped out by 2 pennies or something stupid like that, and then it drops 30. All right, it's all good because at least we got Google, and that didn't stop out, and that was pretty damn close to being stopped out as well. But here we go. I mean, it's funny because the fact that Google's dropped down, we've been playing off 128 all day, so hopefully we can break a little bit lower. We're just taking some fills right now. My stop on this one was like not too much higher than where we're at right now. As you can see, Google sort of made that high right there, and it's a good thing that never got run up to 61s. My stop is 61, so 15 cents worth of a stop. We're now about 2-to-1 on that one, back down in, and I don't know if stocks are going to run $1 here into the close, but my target right here, like 127.80. Let's get some more out at 128 if it does go down. All right, so so I'm flat on Tesla right now, but we still have a trade, right? We're still long. So I take 20 cents there, lose 20 cents there. So right now we're only in 60% left of this, and I was just trying to get longer right here at 229.25. Right into there, missed us by, again, about 10 cents. So we'll see if it does float back in. Watch out for 228.50, 229 breaking lower there on Tesla. So that's something that's on my mind right now as Google goes back up to the upside. Meta, I mean, I don't know. Threads to me is, I mean, it's a nothing burger. Until it's, Threads is dead. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That was Neil's. I don't want to take credit for that.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible, but whatever. You said it, so it's not bad. So I just, there is a web version now. You can go on I think you can post stuff, but you just can't like rethread or, I don't know, share things. I don't know. Again, I haven't been on it since,
you're right.
jump. But there is a web version now. It's just this would be the next version. And the thing is that how many of us are actually even on any Meta or TikTok or anything like that that's other than your phone? So I feel like it is a nothing burger right now for Threads. I love Meta. Again, I own this name. We bought it A lot of this down there at $100 or 110 or something. So the fact that it's up here, we've been selling it all the way up, and we haven't necessarily made the best purchases at the top. I still think you're going to get another chance to do that. Relatively strong earnings have already came through for this name. So I like Meta. It's pulling back. I think there's nothing wrong with their quarter, and I'd buy it regardless of this Threads news.
All right, let's wrap up with this one. Xpeng, what a move this was this morning, right out of the gate. What is that, $1.50 straight to the upside with barely a red candle. We get all the way to 17. Deep pullback, though. We're trying to get going again here for Xpeng. This was it. It was Bank of America comes out with an upgrade and a really positive note on Xpeng, pointing to the Volkswagen deal. Seemed to be it. Anyways.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, Ming Lee, the analyst at Bank of America, saying that, you know, this is affirmation that Xpeng's advanced driving model is on its way to actually being a thing, and also that the fast cash burning that Xpeng had been doing is going to be alleviated somewhat here because of the $700 million coming in. Outside of the analyst upgrade, though, we're looking here at new models coming in. 2025 and 2026 is going to see a slew of new models. One of them, the G6 SUV, that's actually supposed to help their margins, Brendo. So
yeah, pretty impressive. Nevertheless, I mean, even the other ones today I saw, you know, NIO, Li Auto getting a boost on this as well, guys.
Yeah, wait till you see the Xpeng Rose Noir. Like that's the one. Like Xpeng's has a roof. It exists. They're building it. I don't know. This is about momentum more than anything else. So let's. I'm not the car guy, so I'm not really going to get into the fundamentals here. Like the only thing I care about is I look at what your margins are, and then I'll sort of comment on that when you have positive ones and that kind of a thing. But I didn't really have like Xpeng. I'm kicking myself because I had 17 as resistance, and I suppose that's something that I should have been looking for the short. It's not that complicated. Like those Thursday levels, because Thursday, like a lot of things were at tops. Those Thursday levels were big, and it ended up turning down right at 17. I had my eyes on NIO. I really thought if Xpeng was going to go, NIO was going to break out this bottom. So I tried NIO short once at 99 and gave it to 01s. That's this little tight little move in here. But I thought if this took out Friday's high, which it's still, I mean, Friday's tops, I thought this would make a breakout. It just couldn't do it. Maybe it's going to do it this afternoon, but it's 2:30. Still has to get there and break it out on NIO. So Xpeng didn't really drag this one into a breakout, which I thought if it held the 11 level, it could have taken out that high, and then there's a huge gap to be filled on NIO. So that was a bit of a missed opportunity by sort of waiting around for NIO to go. If you took that breakout, I mean, it really hasn't pulled back that much. Maybe it's a tomorrow play. I can come back to this tomorrow, and if NIO's breaking out 11.20, that looks a little bit decent there. But 11's holding for now, at least. But I'll kick myself for not at least considering that 17 short. Had that peg for resistance. It got up there really quickly, and there was a big turn there. That and Coinbase 75 are the two things I'll keep myself.
Well, you can get Coinbase 75 now.
But there's that new, I don't know what happened to Coinbase. We were in a meeting, so I actually don't know what happened on that volume spike on Coinbase earlier. When I don't know what happened, I usually don't want to just jump in. What?
Options. It was a huge options move. It was no cap.
Oh, so it was just an options play?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then that probably is still a short.
All right. Yeah, we had Xpeng written down on our sticky note. We liked it. We liked the levels there. And like Neil said, we got most of them out there at 17, sorry. So no problem. When it came right back into 17, there's a bunch of outs there at 94, 95, and then a bunch of outs at 97, 98. So we only went long at 75 break. So so far so good as it made sense to me, to hit those levels. I don't know. Like we'll wait to see what happens now with Xpeng as I think it's actually developing an okay area right here at 1655 or so. So if we break a little bit there, I still think there's an opportunity for some Xpeng love to get kicked out around here. So we'll see about that. But for right now, looking to go long maybe on this break for Xpeng. Let's just wait to see what happens. It generally barcodes, and what we mean by barcode is like you don't get too much action here into the close on a name like an Xpeng and some of these Chinese ADRs from what we've been noticing in the past. So we'll wait on that one and just try to see what Tesla wants to do as it's bouncing around 230 still here.
A rundown brought to you by Trade Ideas, real-time scanning and alerting used on the desk by everyone you see on the show. See what's moving in the moment. Check out the QR code, bottom right corner of the screen, guys. Take advantage of this if you haven't. Great deal, 20% off. Trader TV 20. Shout out to our friends over at Trade Ideas.
There you go.
Right.
And now that we're done the rundown, speaking of Xpeng, I'm going to get to the real X. The only X that anybody cares about. Right. And I'm not talking about the former Twitter. talking about U.S. steel. Although it's probably not the thing that everyone cares about. But this has been giving you, ever since the morning, now there was that news story that ArcelorMittal might be interested in buying them for $38 to $39. That would be the third offer that these guys have gotten. So I did try the long right away and got stopped out on the way back in, jumped back into the support at 31.50 after previously looking for 31s, and that's been pretty solid all the way up to like 30, 32 a couple of times. The lower highs have been down here at the 75 level. Now it's starting to make another grind. So I have been back to the well here. Got stopped out. I put a hard stop in when we were at the meeting, and then jumped right back in when I realized support actually held 31.50. So this has been pretty solid. As always, keep ear to the ground, all that good stuff, because if there were a comment from ArcelorMittal saying no, we're not interested in 38 to 39, no idea where that came from. If they were to say that, well, then the catalyst that got it above this 31.5 could easily get it right back into support at 31, where the support ended on Friday. So it ended 31 Friday. That's where I would have been looking to buy. Now it's taken this 31.50. And since all this mess has started, 32 has been a local high. So it's never really trading above that level. Another reason to take profit. I am in Nikola, by the way. That's the other position I'm in. It's still a NASDAQ stock. This is a new position on Nikola, short the lower high here. We had it off the 180 this morning, and this might get stopped out in actually like another cent or so. But I had it off this 155 area. So 153.5 is my current price. And if it were to take out this local high, I would just get out of it. Nikola, hey, after 20% down, it's seemingly catching a bid here. So good for you, Nikola, as you're going to the upside. Meta has not popped back in to give me this short again off of 290. I am going to go for it again here. We're still underneath 15,000 by 30 handles or so. So I still like the short. I would give it to the top and then try to rinse and repeat this one off the 290 level here on Meta.
All right, I'm kind of stuck deciding which way we want to do. People ask me, do I think Tesla's going to moon today? I mean, I think it's already, the devil number was just 666. I also think it's already sort of gone here. And now you're running into 230. So I just feel like you're a little, I don't think you're trapped or anything like that. I just feel that there's a spot here on Tesla whereby it's been such a good day. If you are bearish at all, you know, this 230 is a reason there, at least, for it to stop moving. I mean, you had a great move up. We already stopped at 230 earlier on today right there, basically almost 230 right on the dot, before dropping down $5 back into the 200. So I'll probably get out of this one. I'll look to get more shares though right now, but we'll probably get out of it on like a 229 and change break, you know, down lower than that, 228 and change. And then maybe looking to see if we can get into VWAP here, 226. I just don't want to be long in this. We're already short Google, so if everything collapses right here and the market does want to drop down, obviously Tesla's going to go more than $1. It's going to go more than Google. It's double the price of Google. So I am moving around, but if this can hold the short, then I feel like we're sort of going to be net on that one. It's just, I like the story better for Tesla. Strong name, stocks at the high of the day. It's just that's when we broke 230, and we haven't really been back there, although we just got back above 230 right now, and then once again stopped where we got out at 230.35. So we've almost got the high of the day there on Tesla, and it just sucks because I'd like to see that get breached again. And I do feel that if we do come back up here, there'll be traders that'll be short into these levels. So I think if we can get it back into the 30s, that should scare like it does me and bust us out of that. So I'm hoping that we can get going here on Tesla. I mean, the market, unless I'm not looking at something here, it's not, I don't know why we just put those lines there, but it's not exactly moving around anywhere now. So we'll have to wait to see where this market wants to go. That's the high there that we're looking at, 14,930. So we're still above that initial balance high right now and looking to take out tops. So let's just hold this position, see if it can do anything here on Tesla. I'm still looking to see if anything else is going on.
You know what's at a high right now?
I mean, you talked about Coinbase.
Well, at a big Marvell's at a good level.
Oh, yeah? What about Intel?
They're the only ones that, I shouldn't say the only ones because I'm not 100% sure of this, but they still have to report. I don't think there's another semi-name that after Nvidia, other than Marvell, that we need to wait around for earnings for. But they're on Friday. Well, they're day after. I want to say it's Thursday or Friday. No, it's Thursday. Thursday after the bell, I believe, is Marvell. So that's 60 on the daily. You're pretty much at that right now. If you're looking for things that are at curl levels, like I was just looking for some setups underneath this 15,000 level. So you've just wicked the top. Went back too far there. You just wicked the top. That's also last week's high, and you're starting to curl. It's a setup I like because you have it defined out. You're starting to form the trend. Maybe the next available pop. Your stop would be essentially just the high of day 60.08. So you're really just sort of giving it past that, which I like. Always, I don't want to be chasing this too far, but instead of going over to Nvidia, which everyone wants to buy the dip on, if Nvidia tanks or the market turns, I feel pretty good about Marvell making a bit of a curl, just a little bit possibly easier to get into a short and not get absolutely run over. So if this pops back into the 60 or close to it, I like to short in this. I'm back in a meta. It just got to that local high again. I'll give it to this. The current top's now 30s. Although for some reason my level 2 is like, there must have been a dark pool print at 300 or something ridiculous because my level 2 says 300, but I can clearly see that's like 290, 28 or so is the high of the day. So I'm back into this. I will let it get to that high. Want to take these pot shots off the high of the day, but I'm liking that Marvell a little bit there, and I think I'll jump into it. Coin, as you were mentioning, yeah, I'm looking for that 75 short. If it was just unusual options action and some market makers covering there and having to buy, and then eventually it rejected 75 and just rejected 75 again, I'll take a third shot at it. You're looking for good R&R, like I'm looking for good R&R, risk to reward trades off of these levels. Underneath that 15,000. So Coinbase 75 qualifies for me as one of those.
Okay, we haven't hit this today, although we've been doing a lot of this. All right, so right now Tesla's starting to go a little bit. Like I said, if we just got to get to 230.30, if we can get to 230.30, then I think that triggers 231 plus. So let's see if that happens. That's not what the reloaded is. It's right over here. We're going to be reloaded right now on Google, but we are still respecting that recent high, right? And so, or that day's high, which is, let me zoom back out, which is right here. So yeah, man, I mean, if my stop gets run again, at these levels, then it's going to get run again, and there's nothing I can do about that. So unfortunately, we had our last stop run on AMD right there, and then it fell. So I'd rather this not happen to us, but at the same time, we are finally starting to go right now with the bigger guy here, and that's going to be Tesla. So I don't know. Like, if Tesla runs great, we probably get stopped out of our Google, but you guys know Google has been a hell of a stock for me today. It's the #1 profitable name here on the show so far, Google. So we're going to watch out for that for me. Anyways, we're going to see if that can still go upside Tesla. But this is the nervous Nancy trade right here. Trying to break above right now 128.60, which has been that high. So this is the stock right here that I'm willing to get stopped out of. And look, stopped out, I mean, it'll be 11-cent hit. So plus slippage, maybe 13 cents worth of a hit. If we were that nervous, which we are, we just put a bid down there in the low 40s to see if we can't just make a 1-to-1 on this trade. But here we go. This is really the big thing for me right now. Let's see what's happening right here, right now on Tesla. This is the breakout level that I'm worried about. Hopefully it can spike through 230.30, get some other traders stopped out, and then just continue up, man. Let's play that momentum. I am waiting at 31s to see if we can get an out there on a quick little float up. Hopefully that's the case here as we wait for it. Okay, so there it is. So we will flush ourselves down the toilet, of course, and hit the siren, or no, hit that's right above the flush right there, because there goes Google. And let's now see, here goes Tesla. So we get that break. Just because we got stopped out of Google, though, I feel like I have to put an out right there. So let's just put an out there just to make sure, because I don't want to get stopped out Google on this high break and then not, because it didn't go to 231. That's where we were waiting. Let's see if it can go now. We have size at 230.60 right now, 24,000 shares. Let's see if it breaks through there. We just got out at 59, so obviously that's a good trade for us. But if we break 60, then we go higher, and then where do we go after that on Tesla? I mean, that's 232. What's up, Rankles? That's 232.50 coming through. That's 235 right there as well coming up. So I really think that we get to 232.50. And I think if I have a stop other than that, then that's going to be a mistake. So let's go. Here we go. Nice little upside move here for Tesla, which is going, and Google really isn't. So there's the stop out on Google. We'll still put that money in our pocket, and now let's see where Tesla can go.
Yeah, we're starting to get some movement. I just want to shout out in the chat someone saying they took a shot at AMC there. It might be finally trying to break off this $3 level. If you're watching this morning, it did make a wick bottom at 305 and never got to 3.
God.
It is still holding this 305 level. Oh, here comes Meta. I'm kind of looking maybe at a long off this 310 on. You can kind of see the barcoding. That's barcoding on AMC, like a 5-cent range for pretty much the entire afternoon. So the risk reward, if it catches a bid down 23%, is really not that bad. This week is that reverse split that's happening, and then the conversion with APE shares. So there was just a wick, double top on Meta at that high. Once it gets underneath, I'm going to start taking some out on the way to this 89 level. So Meta did get the reload. Thankfully, we'll see what happens. It's going to make another run at this high. Gave the wick high. It needs to break down underneath that 290. Then we can be go zone. You are now 20 handles away from 15,000. There's a bunch of levels that are going to come up at the same time. One of them I got to get to very quickly, because if Intel is at 33, when we get to that level, when we get to 15,000, if we get to 15,000, this is 33. You can see it roll over. That's 33 from last week. I mean, that's an obvious resistance zone for me. If this gets 25 pennies up and can manage to do that with the NASDAQ still battling that level, that is a short that I definitely like. But we got that meta. I do need to take some more profit on U.S. Steel if you're still following along with this. I just missed grabbing some at the 90s, and it has not really been able to get through that 32 even area. So you got to take profit up here in the 90 range. That has been where it's turning around almost every single time, and then bounce off that 31.50. Rinse and repeat with a buyout style trade. You usually want to just play off the support and resistance and respect it almost, not blindly, but holding past the high. If that's the range, that's the range. You know, it's putting in a 50-cent range, you trade the 50-cent range. You know, I don't really even do that game of holding some for more, because usually that's just not the case. So we'll get it all out if it gets to that 32 level on U.S. Steel. It's got a couple of wicks above, but that was right after the news came. Since then, it's been definite resistance.
All right. All right, not much else going on right now. I mean, we're still waiting on for Tesla. I mean, I think that there's lots going on. It's just I'm trying to wait for this.
It's just 15,000 now.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, 15,000. Yeah, exactly. So I do like this take here. As here we go, Tesla's now going to go hopefully $1 in the money and can join that illustrious club, of course, that we've talked about right now. All right, but so just like Neil said there, I'm kind of doing the same thing and waiting to see if AMD wants to. So I just put a starter position on. It's nothing. I'm waiting to get more up here at 108. So let's just see if 108 can hold. I know we wrote down 109 that we wanted here for AMD today, but I don't mind a 108. We sort of bumped up there a couple times into 108, right into there. So I feel like we got to give this a little bit of room if it does come up, which it's doing right now. So we're giving it some room just to see if we can get this name to work. So 108. We'll give it some love. We are waiting for more shares short at approximately high 80s right now. If you know hockey and you know who Sidney Crosby is, and you can use that as a reference.
Never heard of him.
No, yeah, just like I never heard of that track guy. What was his name again? Zay Flowers? No, not Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers is the wide receiver. You're only saying that because I passed on
Zay Flowers is fast.
He is pretty good. Noah Lyles.
Noah Lyles, that's what it was.
Noah Lyles is very, he's a confident track athlete. I love seeing that guy run because he actually put out before the World Championship started. He's like, I'm going to run these 2 times the 100 and the 200, both of which would have broken Bolt's records. Now he has no chance to break the 100-meter record, and he didn't do it. But he legitimately, this is not like hyperbole. He can break Bolt's 200-meter record. 100% he is capable of doing it. He is that good. Most people don't know him because he doesn't really have the same fame that Usain Bolt has, but trust me, if you could buy athlete futures, I would have bought Noah Lyles a few years ago. The same way I was like, Sha'Carri's going to dominate. And everyone's like, yeah, she's crap. I'm like, yeah, just wait, give it a couple of years, and now she has a chance to win as well. But anyways, that's just track and field. AMC's still going a little bit here, and instead of waiting around for it to get back into that, I don't know if we get a chance at 310 again. So if I can wet the beak here in front of 15s, just bid it now. It's starting to go a little. The volume's picking up, and I want to get something in the teens here before this makes a possible run over there at VWAP. No, Ponzi Fonzie, not like Ben Johnson, who I met, by the way. The other guy that ran for Canada in '88 was a family friend, Married a friend in the family. Like, he actually came to my birthday party when I was like 10 years old. I met him several times, played ping pong with him, and I got to meet Ben Johnson because he was obviously a friend of his. Yeah, they got some interesting stories, those track guys from like '88 in Canada. Let's just throw that one out there. I watched a dunk-off with Mark McCoy, who won gold for Canada, Desai Williams, who was the other man and the gentleman in the final, may he rest in peace, and we were watching Dominique versus Spud Webb with these dudes that I thought nothing of because I'm just a punk kid, and these guys were going to the Olympics. But yeah, and then Ben rolled through in his Ferrari that day, like in my neighborhood in Brampton. It was like the wildest thing. And then obviously, you know, like a year later, they're all infamous, so that didn't really work out too well.
No, steroids is a beautiful thing.
Steroids are bad.
Yeah, it's very, very bad unless you're trying to win a track event. Okay.
They were all on it.
Yeah, at that point, I mean, I would.
All of them.
I mean, everyone's U.S. here, so we gotta be careful what we say about the man, the myth, the legend, Carl Lewis.
Actually, the only two that were not dirty in '88, eventually, like in that final, was a Brazilian dude, and I think it was Calvin Smith, like the second American, was also clean.
Okay. Carl Lewis gets all the love in that race, of course. Okay, let's go. Yeah, Spud Webb I think is lower, is less than 5'8".
5'7".
Yeah, I was gonna say at 5'8" might be tall for Sir Spud.
They might have listed him at 5'8".
Yeah, he could have. That's the thing about sports. You never know what these guys' heights really are. Okay, then. All right. Oh, here we go. So there we go. So now we are into AMD. You can see our average price now is 79. So I think that's well worth 20 cents worth of risk right now for AMD as we wait for a pullback in this name. Here we go. So the pullback to 60 would be that. So let's do that. If we can get a pullback into 60, I think that's worthy of taking something out, giving us that 1-to-1 as the NASDAQ still remains at the high of the day. And again, we told you we would do some work on trying to get better as traders. And I just feel that, you know, the stock market is, I mean, this is not. When we left, we talked about where the market was. It was up 0.6. Now, just this afternoon, again, a 50-period retest, boom, to the upside. So let's just hold out hope now that we are at 15,000. We talked about how key 14.8. Like, we talked about 14.8 earlier today. I mean, that's the very bottom as well. So, I mean, we called it the top on Friday. We called it the bottom today. That's why it's ridiculous not to have like a golden long from down here. Not that you would have held it 100 or 200 points, but up to 15,000 right now. Nicely done there. Anybody that's been holding on to any of these plays. It is a very, very big risk opportunity right now for anybody holding on to the short, as you could just break out again, man. You take out that 15,000, you want to make sure you have stops. That's the thing, right? You got to get stops in there because if you get exposed, then that's going to be a problem. And that 15,000 starts to hit people and run people over. So watch out for that as you're coming through. Watch out for Tesla. Look, I can't believe I'm saying watch out. We're 50 cents in the money, but it's just bumping its head off 231 over and over and over again. So for me, this is close to me getting out here, especially if the market fades off 15,000. I mean, we'd be way more in the money on an AMD if anything pulled back on the futures than what we would be giving up here on Tesla because we only have 40% left of Tesla, and I'm waiting for that. I don't even have any offers on Tesla. I'm waiting for either a pullback in here, back into 230 again. We'll go a little bit lower, maybe give it some 229.50s for a reload. But generally speaking, 7%. I don't think many thought this was coming after we've had a pretty disastrous couple, I guess, month there, half a month in Tesla so far. It's nice to see 7%. I could see it getting faded out a little bit here into the close. But so far, so good here today. And I just think, you know, welcome everybody and thank you.
Hola, like and subscribe today.
Although Kat isn't here today. Hopefully she'll be back in tomorrow, but make sure you do hit that like and the subscribe. Thank you to Bears vs. Bulls and everybody that's watching. I'm getting a little nervous now as AMD continues to go to the upside.
Here's the NASDAQ.
So just watch out for the NASDAQ here at 15K.
We keep saying 15,000, but just visually, whoops, what is going on? There we go. I drew a nice little line on my chart. Not that you can't really tell. 15,000 is a nice round number here. We are getting very close to it. The thing about the future is like you could be above 15,000, you could get to like 10s and 20s, and I don't think you're really breaking it out till you get like that quarter above. So as it gets into that level, I want to be looking for reversals. I was just in Coinbase, again, have a tight stop on it, maybe too tight, but the way I look at it, if you're breaking out from there, you could go another 50, 60 cents easily. Coinbase is prone to squeezing like that. Meta as well, tried to reload off the high. This time it didn't really drop, took out the local high. It's still trending to the upside, so I don't want to be sitting there sort of fighting it too heavily. If we're going to resolve through 15,000, it's now a lot closer to that level. It feels like we're almost inevitably going to get there. I am in AMC now. I did get it some in the teens. Would have liked it a little bit. I would have loved to have had a better price, but it's starting to come back in here. And really, if it's going to hold a 310 bottom, then I'll try to add to it underneath 15s. Overall risk about 5 to 10 cents, less than 10 cents, probably about 6 or 7. And if it gets to back to that 330 level, great. That's all you really need. If it gets to VWAP, fantastic. So AMC down today. I'm still, in a general sense, I'm bearish on it, but I think the chance at a bounce is pretty good. Nvidia, is it just keeps on going. It's a bit ridiculous. I was sitting there, forget about 460 now. I don't think we're seeing 460 anytime soon. 62 is now trying to dip. Suddenly, it can't even seem to pull back $1, let alone give you a $2 retracement for a long. Now that we're at 15,000, that's not the moment I'm looking for a dip buy. I'm looking for curls. The other one that was available, which obviously has not given me the fill, is Marvell. Right there. I was actually at 97, and it looks like it just missed me by a cent. So I want into this one. We're at the 15,000 mark. This is putting in, it's kind of a sympathy play to Nvidia, which is putting in a lower high as Nvidia is making a high. So when I see that, I usually know I want to be into that name, because if that's the reason it's up, mostly because of Nvidia, yes, I mean, the NASDAQ is strong. It has yet to report. It's a chip name with a lot of growth potential for AI as well. All that good stuff, but it rejected 60 once and is making a lower high as the market's making a high. I like that setup, so I'm short it now. I was waiting at 97. I'll start in here at 92. If it gets to 60, I'll add at that price. Again, stop out at the high of the day. All you need is one curl off this 15,000 level, and as long as your risk reward has been good, even if you take 2 or 3 shots at it, if you had a tight stop, it's not the end of the world, because if you do get a pullback here, Marvell could drop $1. That's a potential here for us on a name like a Marvell.
And if you were Nas, all you would need is one mic. So we need one pullback, and Nas needs one mic as well. So
Nas doesn't even need a mic.
No, he does not need a mic, but just for everyone to hear him. I mean, you don't want to get.
He's
apparently, Taylor Swift rocked her concert in the dead rain. Apparently, it was in Massachusetts, Boston there. And I don't know, there's some pictures of Bill Belichick, because it was all over my feed.
Of course.
Bill Belichick was there, and he's like, oh my God, what a warrior. Like, she did the whole concert in the pouring rain.
The thing about
shout out to T. Sweezy.
What's crazy about her is she's
Friendship
probably
bracelet.
the one person that could do the hologram thing right now and make just as, and a lot of artists probably couldn't do it because people want to pay to see the actual artist. But I promise you, she's the only one. She could have a concert, and then it could be hologram in 10 different locations.
Yeah.
And they would actually be able to bank, maybe not 100%, but at least close enough to it that people would pay for.
I mean, people can't buy her tickets. Her and Drake could do that right now.
And I feel like she's going to be the first person, because it's going to happen. They've already done these hologram
Yes,
things.
that's the whole VR thing.
She will be the first one to do it at a level where you're like, okay, now this is real. It's not just artists here or there. It's going on simultaneously across the world, and it's unreal what can happen. So anyways, I'm into Marvell. It's incredibly impressive. I think she's going to change. She obviously has changed the game a little bit. I feel like we might have just tested 15,000. You got one wick up there. If we never break it, then you want a piece of a little something. If we never actually break the level, usually with the futures level, you test it and test over it. But in case you haven't, if you pull back 40 or 50 handles from here, to me, the exposure to a short, make sure you have stop outs and take profits on your longs, because if you reject a level like this, we're coming 30 handles down, and then some of these names can really start to work. I'm hoping that AMC doesn't care about that, because they shouldn't. I should just be U.S. Steel just got to 98. I'm not looking that gift horse in the mouth. So I'm anticipating this is going to pull back. So every time it gets to 32, you saw what happened here. I did buy VWAP and then got in. That's the third time it bounced. I thought that was going to be good. Then it kind of ran the stops there and then held out underneath VWAP. So 31.50 is a better support level than VWAP on the stock, as you can tell. Sometimes VWAP is a good level for dip buy, and other times it's just, no, it's going to a specific price, and here it's going to 31.50, and playing VWAP was a mistake, and that was my mistake on US Steel. If it pulls back, I'm buying it in front of 31.50, so under VWAP is my entry point on US Steel.
My patience is it's running thin right now because there's really not that much happening. You know, Google, we got stopped out and it pulls back. It's just like, I'm feeling like these shorts are fine right here. It's just like keeps getting tested. And it's like, these are great levels that I really, really like. And it's like, same thing here with Microsoft. Like we went short off of 322 until eventually it broke, you know? So it's like, we keep getting tested at these key levels when I know the NASDAQ is up right now. I know it's looking to go higher. And it's just like, can I withstand sort of what I'm seeing right now and be smart about it? And I really starting to second guess these shorts, obviously. I mean, and it's flat. I can get out of AMD right now, like for 2 cent hit. It's just, I'm starting to think that I want to be in a short in case we fall. I mean, we can see definitely that there is some downside move pressure here in AMD. We've been short all day. I mean, I don't think there's no downside pressure. If the futures fall down, though, you know, we've seen where AMD can go. And I just don't want to give it up now by taking, like, even 10 cents. I mean, we just had a 10-cent winner, and I was like, nah, not taking, you know? Because I do think that that's not the right trade right now. But at the same time, we got stopped out of our short, and then we got stopped out of our Google short a couple times right there, and which both times would have been right if we gave it a little bit of breathing room right now. But you need to calm down. So that's a Taylor Swift reference. I have no idea what song it is. I think it's called Calm Down. It's actually a pretty good song. But you need to calm down. I don't even know what the next lyric is. So I'm trying to get, it goes, uh-oh. All right, but here we go. Google now, it's starting to go back up. We do have our out for AMD, so if it breaks 108, I mean, then we're just going to get out, throw our hands up similarly to what we just did. Still be obviously green on the day, but not the big winner here that we thought would be here. You're being too loud. Yeah, there is something like that, yeah.
Was that the lyric?
I don't know. No, it's...
Dirty
maybe.
Jersey said Selena Gomez. Is that a Selena Gomez?
It's not a Selena Gomez song.
Well, I wouldn't know. I'm just asking.
No, she has a song that's called Calm Down.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
I mean, I'm really hip into all this stuff, so.
She's in a show I watch, which is fantastic. It's, well, yeah, Only Murders in the Building. Ramin's on that. I love that, but being an old head, Steve Martin is like one of my favorite all-time comedians. Like that dude is freaking hilarious, and
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you essentially, you cannot go wrong when you have 2 of the 3 amigos in a show, and then Selena Gomez kicks butt in it as well. So you haven't checked it out. Like there's not a lot on Disney, which I would say is fresh and not something that they already had, like new stuff.
Right.
That is one. Like if there's a reason, like trust me, that's the show that you would be watching on Disney if you were bothering to watch Disney. Like it's absolutely hilarious. Sentinel-1, it's a little bit strong. There was speculation that they're exploring strategic alternatives, like possibly finding a sale, up 16%. Hey, good time for it because PanW is up 16% as well, so why not? It's kind of barcoding up here, and it's like 17 to me is obvious resistance when the news came out. It halted up, opened up again, could not break 17. Weirdly, the chart looks a little bit in the afternoon like US Steel's does, where it's bouncing off of VWAP, stair-stepping up. If it were to pull back, I think you just look for the dip buy in here. Like if it fails 17 again, we've got some time that you could just go in for the dip buy. Clearly, that hull price is being respected, 16.25, and I'd file that one away for tomorrow. If we're in the same situation, that's probably a look there as well. I don't generally like shorting these. Like someone was like, Neil, your US Steel was a long, not a short. It's like, yeah, I would not short these. Unless there's a firm deal price on a buyout, you're usually looking to short off of that. If it's just out in the air, the problem with being short is if a deal were to come out, it could just gap right through a stop in a way that you miss, whereas that's harder to have happen to you on the long than it is the short. And I'm saying that through experience. Like I've been in a situation where like, oh, I'm shorting a level on a deal, and then all of a sudden a higher bid comes in, and I had a stop order, and it's like that didn't fill because it gapped so far in one candle that you're in trouble. So I would only go long, and I'd be looking for VWAP here on Sentinel-1. We have one of our favorite guests who's, I'm sure she will have something to say. Okay.
They just cut Neil off. And Danielle Shea is here, VP of Options over at Simpler Trading. How are you? Happy Monday.
I'm doing great. How are you? Happy Monday to yourself.
Good. It's getting to the end of August and the end of the summer. Obviously, the market a little bit more quiet these days and less opportunity, less volatility as we've been talking. But I want to highlight a couple of things that have been moving around today. One of them, Tesla, obviously, more positive headlines coming through. Let's talk a little bit about chips to begin with. Broadcom specifically, you wanted to highlight here. Why is that, A, and how are you looking at Broadcom?
Well, so first of all, when you start off in a situation like right now where, the NASDAQ was really oversold, the put call ratio got really high. Everybody was short. And so when that happens, I'm generally always going to focus on Tesla and the chips. And then with Broadcom, I like this one just because, well, it's one of my favorites. So if we flip over to this Broadcom chart right here, I can show you on my weekly chart that, we've got a really strong trend overall. Just gorgeous move. You have this high volume push. Anytime you have a, strong weekly chart, that generally means that I want to focus on it on the shorter time frames. Now, when you look at what it's doing right here and now, you can see that, we've fallen from this previous all-time high. We got pretty oversold. And at this point, you can see that it's coming right up to this resistance zone. If it can break up through 869, I think that's where we're going to see this big push going into this next earnings report, which is on the 31st. So that's why this one's in focus for me, but especially just because the chips, whenever we're getting a little bit of a short covering rally, are the place to be.
How many times do you think they'll say AI? Over under?
As many times as they can possibly fit it in.
Agreed. Let's talk about Adobe here. Sad news. I mentioned at 2 o'clock when we came on that the co-founder, apparently I saw over the weekend, passed away.
Oh, no.
Yeah, 82 years old. Obviously a great life, but sad news for Adobe. But why Adobe this week?
So if you look at this chart right here, this has what we call a squeeze, which is this consolidation that is in the context of this bullish trend. So you can see this, really nice trend, nice stacked moving averages. You can see that the price pulled back, hit and held a key psychological value of support. And then this right here is a squeeze. That's a consolidation breakout signal. So anytime we see a pullback like that, it's more than likely going to break out in the direction of the trend, and that direction is up, which would lead you up into about 550.
For Adobe coming off what's been just an absolute monster year, obviously, for not only that stock, but everything in that group along with it. There was news on that Figma deal not happening, going back to last week. Anyways, we'll touch on a few other ones. Tesla, one of those. Still an interesting look today, obviously 6+% to the upside on seemingly a couple of minor headlines here. It's never a dull moment, never a dull day, it seems, for Tesla. Why are you looking at that one this week?
Brendan, these oversold bounces in Tesla are just so much fun to trade. And, it continues to be one of those stocks that gives us a lot of movement and volatility. So I always think it's a great spot for traders to come in because you're always looking for those greater than expected moves, right? So with this one in particular, I was thinking that it might get all the way down to 200 on the downside. We didn't quite make it there. We got to 215, so it was just above my areas of support. But the thing about Tesla is once you get one of these buy signals, which in this case is a break above the low of, or the high of the low bar, that's where you can really start rallying because people short this thing, right? And so as it breaks out above previous highs, that's where you can trade it up into these prior areas of resistance. All right, I lost my sound.
There we go.
There we go.
All right. Let's talk about Nvidia. Obviously, the headliner coming up this week on Wednesday, just an absolute monster again today. Can it go more, I guess is the best way to put this, and which way do you play this at this point?
Okay, so with this one, it entirely depends on your time frame, okay? So on the chart, when you're looking at it from here into earnings, looks amazing, very bullish. You know, you've got a breakout above this area of resistance. I mean, this was the zone that I was initially saying, okay, you know, if we can't get above here, we're going to go lower, but we did. We broke out higher, broke out above the 50 simple, broke out above these zones. We have a, you know, high volume breakout, right? So when you have a move like that, I mean, you can trade it to the upside on a short-term basis going into this earnings report. That earnings report is on the 23rd. My upside targets on this have been 480 and then 500, with the next one being 525. But here's the thing, Brendan, is that everybody and their brother is long this stock, and we're coming up on an earnings report in an earnings season where literally like every single company that has beat earnings, okay, fine, I shouldn't say every single, that's not accurate, but many of these big companies that everybody's looking at that have beat earnings, they've rolled over afterwards, right? And so with Nvidia, I'm very concerned about that possibility. So I always want to caution people, you know, when something seems like a sure thing, please do not go and buy a bunch of Nvidia calls right before the report, because this thing is probably going to pull back after this, you know, very hyped up event is over.
Hefty goals, obviously, put out there as well, as far as what their targets are for not only this quarter, but going forward. So a big ask, to say the least, coming up on Wednesday. There was an angle to this that I wanted to mention as well. Sharif and I were talking about this before he came on. The ETF side of things, we were talking about a couple of different ETFs that Nvidia is a part of that's going to require more buying power and more buying volume to be, you know, put into the stock ahead of the earnings report. So interesting look. AMAT, another one that you had on your list this week. How come?
Yeah, so when you look at Applied Materials, you know, this one has a very similar setup to the other ones I was pointing out. You know, we have a nice bullish longer term trend. In this case with Applied Materials, you know, it pulled back below this 50 simple and it's shifting higher and starting to break out. So whenever I see this kind of move, it's kind of a slingshot, right? You trade lower, everybody thinks it's going to roll over, and then boom, that's where it flips to the upside. With, you know, plus being up 4%, plus this major shift, we're seeing volume come in. You know, I like this one up into 155. So, you know, I just find that this space is a really good space to focus in whenever the market gets too oversold. And, you know, I will caution people that the market's not solid here, right? Like, I think these semis and Tesla, they're great to trade when everybody's go off of the lows, but you've got to be careful, especially on an overnight basis, because I do still think that the NASDAQ's going to keep trading lower throughout the fall.
For analysts coming out, you know, even this morning talking about Nvidia at 550, at 650, at 780 was the highest one that we got today. So, I mean, at 400 or whatever it is today, obviously not, there's still more upside according to these people for Nvidia at least. I wanted to mention, I saw a couple of people talking about this morning and thought it was kind of interesting, but the Peloton side, or the rental side of Peloton's business that they've introduced just in the past couple of weeks here. I mean, there's been multiple different revenue streams announced over the past few months here for Peloton. Is this a flyer maybe in your mind going into Wednesday?
Sure. Yeah, we can look at that. Let me pull up the chart on that one real quick. I mean, I will tell you about that Nvidia note. I get a little bit suspicious with these people. I feel like almost sometimes they're making those price targets to sell stock to retail. You know, it's like maybe they're just trying to get out. So I keep that in mind about those. But as far as, you know, Peloton is concerned, I would have to check the short interest on this one. I think it still has short interest, but, you know, at best, I would say a bounce up into 848, maybe $10. And then if the short interest is high enough, so short float is 9.63%. That's like pretty decent for short squeeze potential. So if you could get up above 850, especially up above 10, that's where I'd look for a short squeeze. But I think this one's hard. You know, I think Pelotons are at this point kind of like a clothing rack for many. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I was never into the Peloton craze myself.
Agreed. Clothing rack, yeah, no kidding. Let's talk a little bit about the overall market going into the 24th. We get Jackson Hole, we get Fed Chair Powell going to make some comments. If we rewind the tape, as we were talking earlier on the show today, it was that speech last year that kind of kicked off that next leg down in the overall market. A lot of people saying probably not going to be that big of a deal this year, but something to look at as far as what is to come this week for the overall market.
So this seasonally, my birthday's on Friday, by the way.
Happy birthday, Danielle Shea.
Thank you. And I swear it's just always right around my birthday that the market starts to roll over. So I always remember that. And I'm like, okay, it's time, people. So anyways, I know that has nothing to do with what you're asking me, but it's a seasonal thing that I do pay attention to. You know, as we get into the end of August, I think that people are getting back into the market. We see more volume. You know, during the summer, it can be kind of low volume and a little bit slow. But then after Labor Day is over, that's where we see the volume come back in. And more often than not, it's generally to the downside, especially after the earnings season that we just had. You know, we've had an earnings season where we've had Apple, Tesla, Microsoft all trade lower post earnings. This is not normal. Like these companies, I mean, especially when they beat. So it's very uncommon for them to trade lower as they have. And when we look into the fall and we have the Fed and then we have another earnings season that's coming up in October, the problem with the October earnings season is that since the summer quarter was a bit weak, we're not going to have as strong a bullish momentum leading up into the next one, because people are going to say, oh my gosh, you know, Microsoft did really well and they rolled over and all this happened. So I'm very cautious on the long side right now. I've primarily been shorting the Qs. You know, shorter term up moves, as I mentioned, I think are fine, but we really need to get through about 15,500 in the NASDAQ futures before I'd be comfortable getting too long on the upside.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I mean, the sense that, you know, the S&P, I think it was Friday at the close, was 5.5% off the highs. You know, so a healthy, you know, 5.5% type of a pullback going into a major event like that. And as you said, seasonality coming into play. So 15,500, a lot of moving averages in that area. Is there anything else in that area that we need to know as far as price action?
Sure. So I can go ahead and, you know, show you my charts here. I mean, here's the main thing is that I don't like when we start to see this major trend shift. So looking at these charts, you know, we had this really nice bullish trend. We have moving average crosses. We have candles shifting from green to yellow to red. That's a confirmation sell. You have all of this resistance here. So, I mean, you'd need to get up above this zone, but it's not just the NASDAQ, you know, it's all of these major stocks. You've got Microsoft that shifted into a downtrend. You've got Apple that has shifted into a downtrend. You have Tesla that has shifted into a downtrend, even though it's rallying right now, you know? So right now, I think that Nvidia is probably the most important thing to happen along with the Fed this week, because Nvidia has really been the shining star here. You've got Nvidia, and then you do have Palo Alto as well, but there's just not a lot that is kind of holding up this uptrend. So here's my thing is that if Nvidia is a bust, and if we say, oh my gosh, you know, this thing's been up 233% and they had 2 great quarters and this was good, but not great. I mean, what else is going to push the market higher? Because nothing else really is right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem. I highlighted that when we came back on at 2 o'clock this afternoon, in the sense that even today, even if you just look at today, it's just tech on a heat map that is significantly higher. Basically, the rest of the market either flat or downside in not a small way. So yeah, more to come as far as what the overall market is going to see going into the end of the week. Great stuff. Danielle Shea, VP of Options over at Simpler Trading. We appreciate it as always.
Thanks for having me. I love coming on the show.
And we, of course, love having Danielle on the show. What's awesome about this is, like, I mean, just all the love that you saw. Like, when the birthday came in, and obviously, happy birthday, all the best. The market doesn't always have to.
Her birthday's not for a minute, though, I thought.
No, it's not till August 25th.
Right, okay. Yeah, I guess she'll be on the after. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean she'll be on your she'll be on your show, but I mean for anybody watching now, you watch her. She'll be on the after show. But
I wasn't sure she said September, but
no, she said August. It was
Yeah,
August 25th. That's a week. One of our friends from high school, my wife, is born this week as well. So shout out to that. But look, Nvidia is the story. There is no question about it this week. Everyone's excited about it. Doesn't mean there's not other stuff to get to. Except for the fact that I'm going to go right to Nvidia because it's now up 8%, and it's at $468.
I mean, to have just bought that 400 off that Morgan Stanley note, I mean.
Does that ever usually work out? It's like if you do it 10 times out of 10, is it profitable? Like, that's the way I look at it. And if you simply buy off those.
Right.
And here's the thing. There are analysts that have methodologies, and you can read their articles, and it's like, this is why we think and this is how we come up with that price. If I can't read that, and if I can't find that somewhere, then none of it means anything. Because you're just sort of throwing a number out there. And there is a distinction between the two. It's just a lot of times it's not easy to find that. Nvidia is an absolute rocket ship. The only good thing about this is at least Marvell has held the high. Because Nvidia is absolutely flying. Again, Marvell's at a $60 level. Not nearly as strong as Nvidia, but then what the heck is at this particular point? So this is a level I like at that 60 area. It's holding on to it, but they've been giving some fills above and below. We're at 14,997 on the NASDAQ. You know that's kind of a thing. So we are at that 15,000 level. I knew I wanted to be short something into this. And Marvell's the one that held out. I'm still in AMC here. I mean, look, AMC is a dog today. I really thought it was starting to get off the schneid. The volume was picking up a bit, but now it's really slowed down. So I'm in here long at 17. And I got to stop underneath 310, but clearly I'm doing this for it to make a push into VWAP, and it's 320 now, and we're running out of time for AMC to do something. I've seen this before, like a stock drops all day long, it's SSR, it catches a bid, maybe you get a late day rally. That's what I'm looking for here. That's very gimmicky. But wow, Nvidia really is the story. I mean, everyone in the chat obviously talking about it. Dave Campbell, analysts are like fortune tellers.
Okay, I mean, how in that sense?
Yeah, I mean I don't know that I would say that. Like I'm candidly speaking, like I have a friend who is an analyst, and he's in like the biotech sector, and he knows his stuff. Like he literally has a science background, and like he'll read one of those reports on like some phase 3 yada 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 and know exactly what the heck is going on, be able to understand the addressable market. And there's analysts out there that do their work. So I don't want to put everything into the same bucket, but there's no question. Like there's some of it, it's like, really? I don't know. Like they'll throw these prices out, and it's like, how are you arriving at that? And anyways, just take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research. That's what you got to do out there. I'm not going to paint everybody with the same brush, but clearly there's some of it that's a little bit sus, as they like to say.
Yeah, the kids these days. All right, so meanwhile, we've been trading a little bit of TSLA, another one of Miss Shea's favorites, and yeah, we're long through 230. So far so good. We bought the dips, like we said, back into the 50 period. So we got long at 226, 230.26, and then got them out at 80, got them out at 231. So we actually have the high tick of the day on Tesla, but we're still in position. So what's been a very profitable name for us so far will have to wait for a bigger pullback in here, or pull up, I guess. I don't know if we'll be averaging into it anymore. We have that bottom right there of 229.90. I was thinking about stopping out if it broke that. I mean, even lower, maybe 50s. So right now I don't even have a stop order in because it's sort of just been cruising to the upside now. But we should decide to put one in right now. 229.50 and change, just to make sure we don't have it. Okay, so
Intel 33.
Intel's at 33. Okay, so that's an interesting level. We're out. Someone was asking, am I out of AMD? We talked about that 108 break, so we're out of that one. We can show that in a second. I just want to get this in. So 229. Let's go 38. Random. We'll put a stop there and see if it goes. I mean, if it continues to go higher, then yes, sir, we will celebrate that as the apes get a hold of this name here. And of course, we're talking
about. How about they get a hold of AMC?
Tesla. I don't think they're looking at AMC. We talked about how it's barcoding right now, but Tesla's going. So here we go again. Nice little name here. We talked about going long on that 230. I wish that was the only thing that we did, because unfortunately, just by me being, it's not about being bored. It's just about not believing in what Google's trying to do right now. We got stopped out there, and then it dropped down. So we got stopped out at 65, then it dropped down to 41, which is fine. It goes as high as 75. I've decided now to sort of leg into this. So we take a piece there at the 50 period. Now we're getting some right here. So I just watched it bounce around 60s for a minute. So I'm going to give this one to 129. I'm going to try to give this one a little bit of breathing room. If we can get back up into 129, the problem is obviously this NASDAQ is going, and we shouldn't really be short anything up here because you've already taken out 15,000. That's what we're doing right now, and we're still hovering high. So it's like we've given money back here today, trying to fight this trend. Obviously, we're long Tesla, making some of that money back, but still, man, too many shots here, and AMD were already out. Microsoft, we've tried to go short, but we've left that one alone for a minute now as that takes out new highs too, 322.75. It's insane to keep doing the same thing over and over again. We all know that definition. So I don't want to keep doing that because then that's how I'm going to look. So let's just stay the course. We know we want the long Tesla. We're already in that. So that should continue to work up 7%. I don't see any reason for stopping. Danielle said a bunch of things there, but I really liked the point of what I was getting at earlier in the day. And that is that if not Nvidia, then what? And I think that's a question that we're all going to have to ask ourselves if you're buying some of these tops in the market, is what is the next shoe to drop that's going to be a catalyst for bulls? So it's not, that can come out of anywhere, right? Better Chinese relations, right? Better, like if China comes back and pulls back and Biden sort of pulls back some of that rhetoric about, even about these chip names. I guess that would still be Nvidia specific, but that could really rally the market upside again, right? And so I feel that there is some levers that could still get pulled, but at the same time, it's just a lot of these names are pulling back off earnings. Now we just wait for that last one. Yeah. I think there's lots of drug. Eli Lilly continues to be a monster. I think a lot of us understand why that's happening with Mounjaro, and then possibly the largest and most selling drug of all time. This does have a chance to be because
I think
they're still waiting for it to get approval on weight loss and stuff like that. So it's going to be. Diabetes is such a huge impact in North America, especially if they can get that going. And then I don't know how
the addressable market is
ridiculously high, and it's just
half of the country.
Yeah, and I just think that as that continues to go, more and more people, once it gets the approval, of course, there's going to be more and more acceptance.
And that's a risk because, just look at a chart of Pfizer, right? Like Pfizer had a setback with theirs and it got real ugly.
Yeah.
And that's a stock I was looking to dip by. And the second that happened, I'm like, well, I don't know what's going to take for them to take a step forward. So I don't know, if that's the reason I was buying in the phase 3 went bad, now I can't buy it. So Intel got to 33 because obviously any stock that's up is going to get to the level that you want it to get to if you're looking for something. So it just broke. Briefly got to 304. There is this pre-market high at 309, so the high of the day. It has to break 10s to break the high of the day, but I'm into it now. Look, 15,000 could still fail, Nick Garcia putting in the chat. I don't disagree with you. On the futures, generally speaking, it's not like $100 on an individual name or anything like that. If you could get 20 handles above here, and we haven't broken out the level necessarily. You're not accelerating, but that's a volume thing, time of year. So I wouldn't read too much into it that it's not exactly accelerating through. But Marvell, the good thing about Marvell, as I was saying, is Nvidia is making highs. I'll just do it this way. As Nvidia is making highs, like that last press up, Marvell wicked its high and came back in. So this is at least some relative weakness. It's a pure sympathy play. There isn't. Look, I think there's nothing wrong with Marvell as a company, but when I say it's a sympathy play, if Nvidia wasn't up 8%, Marvell's not up 4% today. That's just how it is. If Nvidia was flat today, Marvell would probably be down. And going into the earnings, if Nvidia does get sold off for whatever reason in their earnings, it'll be very difficult for Marvell to go up the next day. And depending on how far it drops. So, it's a bit of a sympathy play. That's why I like it. It's holding these highs, but it needs to follow through. I need to be getting 59.80s and then 59.70s and 60s. VWAP, I think that ship sailed. It's 328. If you're tuning in, we're a live day trading show. We're trading equity live, but we have to be flat at the end of the day. That means no positions in the aftermarket or past 4 o'clock. So you start taking profit a little bit sooner and tighten up stops. At least I do. At least most traders will, because you don't want to get trapped having to punch out at 359. Now, we say that, but we both known traders where it's like, you should take matters into your own hands, and then they wait right until 4 o'clock to just punch out. No, you don't want to have time be your stop. You want to control your own action yourself. That's more just for people that are day trading and day trade the world. It's a horrible habit to get into. Sometimes you can be in the money and let it ride. That's a much different story. But this is a case of shorting tops into a strong market. If we pull back, great. But as we get closer to 4 o'clock, I'm taking profit on whatever dip we happen to get because you almost have no choice. So I'm into Intel, AMC is doing absolutely nothing, and then I have Marvell. So if the market curls here, at least I'm short things which are, they're at the right levels. Intel's obviously very strong, but 33 was not just a wall today. I shouldn't say it was a wall today because that was just pre-market high. But if you look at 33 on Friday and Thursday, clear resistance, clean resistance at those levels. I did have one short on Intel that was at the Friday lower high, and then I traded the long off the 32. So wait for it to get to the key level and just execute. It makes it a little bit easier when you know where you're wrong.
All right, just a quick little update on what we're doing here because we talked about digging a little bit more into Google Shorts. So that one's going to be a little bit, oh, by the way, today's lunch. We did talk about that. It's a little bit late. I mean, some of you do eat lunch at different times. Today's lunch was grilled orange teriyaki chicken with ginger and vegetable fried rice. I would say it was a pretty good meal. I did not. I was looking to steal some chicken, and the next thing I knew, it was all gone. So
But we had the meeting. That's...
Yeah. But yeah, still, anyways, it's gone.
I was no, because if we didn't have the meeting, I was stealing that chicken, but it was all gone. When we got it, so.
Yeah. So that was out of there. But anyways, good meal today. As chicken once again rules the roost.
How much? It'd be interesting, like how much chicken we physically do eat with the catered lunch. When you really think about it, it's a lot.
Pounds and pounds. And
it's a lot. It's a lot of chicken, man.
A lot of protein consumed via chicken method around here. Okay, there it is.
Awesome.
Get down exactly right now. Just real quick, we just got out a piece for flat here on everybody's favorite EV company. I don't know if it is everyone's or not, but Tesla right there, we got a piece out because, again, maybe this market does want to turn down. We're now below the 50-period moving average.
VFS is going down?
On the market. VFS, VinFast?
You said everybody's favorite EV company.
Oh, and that's VinFast? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, my bad on that one, but I don't know. We can check out VinFast. Is that
It's actually, oh my goodness.
sub 10? What do you got?
It actually went up today. Oh
Everyone's
my goodness!
favorite
Now,
EV maker.
see, now I'm just not unhappy with myself. This stock just sets you up for really good shorts. Like Friday's high intraday was 1830. So I pulled the chart out. Look at the wick top when it broke that same. It breaks the high, rejects it terribly, and then gives you another chance to be short underneath Friday's high, and then it just drops $2. Because remember, VinFast is coming from, it was a SPAC, right? It's coming from 10.
Yeah, that's why I called it $10.
Like it's coming from, like it's a SPAC, so it's coming from 10. And then it did, no, it already did. On Thursday, on Friday, it got to like 1170.
Right.
So you feel as if gravity's pulling it back down to that level, and the short the pop situation gave you the perfect entry today. Now you got to pay for locates, and I don't know how much they cost. If they cost 50 cents, that trade's not that great. But if they cost 5 cents a share or 10 cents a share, then suddenly shorting it off the first available level when it fails, it is worth it. And if it breaks that one, shorting it off 20, I'd call it like 26 in here. That looks pretty darn good too. But anyways, that's not the short that we have on. It's just frustrating because it feels like when we're not shorting that stock is when it really wants to go. But somehow that's how it is because there's less eyeballs on it and it just goes further. I did get some out Marvell's. It just finally got into the 80s. Now we're starting to retrace into the downside. The NASDAQ's now 14,983. So it is failing that 15,000 level. I bet y'all look over at Meta and wish I held that. But that's not how it works.
Anything short.
I mean, that's the thing. Come to my chart here a second for Meta, because like first time good, hold some for the stop out, get another stop out right at the high of the day, tight stops. And if you go back to the well, of course it works. But that's just how it is. You got to stop at some point. You have to have an out. You have to pick a different name. I liked where Intel was from risk to reward. So we jumped over to that one. If it gets to the low 90s, just realized I had no bids out. So we're going to get into the low 90s and the 80s as well. The early look, I don't think we have it yet on the imbalances.
Someone posted 427.
To sell?
Buy.
Oh, you know what? I'm in the midday chat.
It's 476
That's what happens when I open up
to
the
buy.
midday chat.
476.
I don't even know why I opened that one.
To buy.
Oh, well, so that's not a sell.
No, but you know what? I mean, I think that's a little bit early now. It's 3:30, so we'll wait to see. We do have Zoom coming for a report tonight. I don't think that that's going to do too much to the market here. Tesla's trying to fail here. Of course, Google that we have is not really doing anything. Let's check out Xpeng. Did that do anything off that level? No, we were going to look. Remember, we were looking at 1650 there as a possible. Well, I guess it. Yeah, I mean, now it's falling out. I guess it. You know, we were looking at that break right there. So I guess if you had it 55, 65, I don't know if you would have took that or not. So I would say not a big trade alert. Oh yeah, I guess you can join me. Thanks for that, Fabian. In just a matter of 30 minutes, we'll have a lot of fun talking all about the markets and different market movers. We'll also talk about earnings coming through after, and then we're gonna have Michael Noss coming on. I have a sector question for him, so we'll be going over a few things with that one. All right, so I don't know what else to talk about right now. PayPal, we were long PayPal early this morning just to talk about some recaps here on what some of the stocks that we indeed were looking at. One of them was PayPal, and we were going long here, which was nice, man. We had some good trades here long off PayPal off this 59 level, but then it dripped down into 58, and then I was like, you know what, if we break below 58 and change, we're going to get 59 and change, we're going to get out. But we did have a good position on, as PayPal would have been, you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda. And like we said, sometimes we feel bad about dropping out of some of our shorts. Well, this was a long that we had made money, eventually made money on it, but it's just like didn't have it for that big hero win at the end of the day. So a little look there to see what was going on with Tesla, with PayPal, but just coming back into 60, I think that's a decent short if you can get anything up there near $60 for PayPal. So that's another look there on that name. We'll see if that can come through. Tesla's fallen in, so we just got another reload on Tesla, but we did talk about, you know, where we were thinking about getting out, and it's right about here. So any bit lower than where we are now, little bit lower than where we are now, we'll be able to get out of that one. And unfortunately, as Tesla comes to the downside, we are still waiting to get out. We did get a 40 fill there on, remember we got short at 60 there, and that is 40. We are waiting for a move greater than this to hit to the downside. It doesn't seem to be wanting to do that right now for Google. So hopefully, if the rest of this market fades out, so will Google, and we'll be able to catch a nice little fill there on that one. Okay, Tesla, here comes Tesla back up. We'll take a 230.25 fill if it gives it to us.
SOS. Someone please help me to understand what this stock is. So it's up 50%. I'm just sort of scanning it on Trade Ideas. It's an ADR for something, so that means obviously it's listed in another country. I'm not gonna speculate as to what, because that's probably terrible to do. But yeah, it's making a big move in here. I can't find the short float, so I can't really get that on an ADR. But up that 50%, it looks like it just kind of does this. Like, since it reversed, obviously, kind of just barcodes off $4, runs up to like 8 to 10, and then flushes. So based on that pattern, I guess in the next couple of days, fade this thing when it gets to like 9 or 10. Like, that's just a really oddly symmetrical pattern for it to always do this and then get sold off. So I'm not really sure what the story is. Don't trust SOS at all. It's a crypto-related stock. Okay, that makes a little bit of sense, I suppose. But the volume's decent at 2 million shares, but it just had a big volume spike into this way too late in the day to pay for locates, because it looks like it could make a run at that $8 or $9 level, and maybe there'd be a quick short, but it's 337, so I would never pay for locates this late in the day. I mean, the chances of getting a good shot to use them when I know they'll be expensive on an ADR, it's probably costing you a pretty penny for locates. I've reloaded Marvell here. It's putting in a lower high. The market's trying to retest that 15,000, so I roll back into it at 60 even. If we can get some back out here at that local bottom at the 80s, we'll go for that, rinse and repeat. At least it's not making fresh highs. Intel came right back. You know what? I should have reloaded this one as well at that 33 level. So it needs to come right back in here. With 338, not a heck of a lot, except for the 15,000 level going on. It is a buy and balance, but I feel like that resistance at 15,000 is a bigger story. So that's what we really need to be focused on. Nvidia, I'm always watching Nvidia, because if Nvidia is at 470, these are both stopping out, and I can probably just punch out of them early if I notice Nvidia doing something absolutely ham. AMC, maybe it'll bounce off $3 tomorrow. It ain't doing it today. AMC is a dog. The reverse split and share conversion is happening this week. That's why it's down to 23%. The volume started to kick up, and it looked like it was trying to break back out that bottom. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So we'll almost certainly take the L when this breaks that 310 level. You know, not much of a bounce here in AMC as far as an SSR bounce. If you had it really early, you could have had 15 cents. I tried it late for a play into VWAP. Not going to be able to do it.
All right. What else you guys want to look at? I'll go to the chat right now. Let's go and see what people want to talk about. What's up? Euthanasia had a funny comment there about VFS and said, but does it have the rear camera bidet attached to it? Because
good
if it
point.
does, then you know that would make
Dump
sense
that then.
for why I would go. What's up, Comp SRX? Hope all you guys join me at 4 o'clock. We'll do roll call again. What's up, Canadian Bacon, Michael Lloyd, everybody Radley. You know what? Yeah, we can look at, what's up, Matt? You know what? We can look at Tesla, maybe. I mean, sorry, Shopify. That might be a good call out there. Thank you so much, Radley, for that. Radley with the rad call out right now on Shopify. You guys know we've been doing that. Yo, what's up, Nick Garcia, Saved by Grace as well. Jackie, you're here. Ponzi Fonzie's in the building again. What's up, Day Trader Cut right now. Thank you so much for, again, liking and subscribing to the channel so you guys can be part of the chat, and we'll yell you out every single time. 5420. Yeah, man. I mean, Shopify's been good, but look at the daily chart. We were actually talking about this, shorting this until it got through to 60 bucks. Now the way downside here, and I still think that you want to short it. That's where the 50 period is, up here at $60. It's been a great run for Shopify. This is, I mean, and I just say thankfully now, because this is a name that I was sort of piecing out of my position here as Shopify kept on going back up to the upside there and eventually broke down again. So Shopify's been, and we can say this because it's a Canadian name, it's been a pretty big disaster right there ever since it started leading basically all of Canada to the upside. So Shopify hasn't been a great stock, and
What the heck?
It did.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's the market recap thing there. Is that what you're saying?
No, I hit O Canada.
Oh, you hit it. I don't know. Who put that up? There it is. Okay.
I mean, it'd be cool if we had a button, we could put some of those up.
Speaking, yeah, that would be awesome. Speaking of O Canada, I'm being asked to do the rundown right now for campus.daytradetheworld.com coming through. So if you are interested in signing up, and unfortunately it is only available for Canadians, but you can hit it up. I know there's a lot of you watching right now, and it's free, absolutely free. Unlike some of the other places that are around there, they want you to pay this much for a sign up or that much or blah, 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 as it continues to go. Here at campus.daytradetheworld.com, it's completely free. If you have flexibility between 16 to 20-ish hours a week, it's all right here. You can go find it out. It starts with a brief introduction. Then you'll learn all about the platform that Neil and I, same one that Neil and I are using as well. Then you'll learn about TMS, which is the training mode, Supreme, Superb, or what about just training mode simulator coming through there. And then after you pass all of that, right now you're gonna have objectives and everything like that. So it's kind of like other people that have sponsored the show, very, very similar, but there's nothing required from you guys right there. Then you get the trading goals and you go live, and you need at least 8 hours a week to trade there. So if you have that and you do have what it takes, definitely make sure you sign up. And the reason why we are sort of in need, no, we're not in need, but why everyone's in need right now to sign up is the September 5th cutoff date for the new class. So join us here at Day Trade the World, and you can be anywhere remote throughout Canada to be able to sign up for that for now. Shopify, I still like the short despite being here in Canada.
And the pole position for being like the stock or trending stock to own in Canada has never really been a good one.
It's been tough.
Like whether, it was Nick Nortel held that, where that's the company that everyone thinks about for Canada and innovation, and then it was obviously RIM after that, BlackBerry. And now it's it's probably Shopify, I would say, and it was tough because when it took that mantle, that was pretty much the high. And Tesla is actually holding this 230. We're back above 15,000, everybody. So I have to go right back to the well, two names I'm in. It's still a lower high on Marvell, but it's one thing to hold the top. It's another thing to actually reverse. We're able to get some profit already down in 59.80. I'd be happy if it happened again. Intel, a bit of a different story. It's trying to run that high, getting pretty darn close to it. It's holding out. Nvidia hasn't made a fresh top. So the NASDAQ's going higher, but Nvidia hasn't broken this local high in the last 10 minutes or so, which let me zoom in for you so you can see. It's only doing it now. That's at 469. If it gets through that, probably just get out of Intel. At least for now, Marvell seems like it doesn't want to go as strongly, so that one could be okay. I feel like that's the one I have a chance to hold on to. Crypto Blogger coins at 76. You know, sometimes the best you can do is sniff out when to get out and then not fight it. Look at it hold 75. Sometimes your bias gets the best of you. 75 is a key level on Coinbase. Once it punches through, look where the dip support is. It's at 75. It is probably the most simple notion out there when looking at charts, that support and resistance, like previous support turns into resistance. And when you can just not blindly, but on a trending day start applying that, that's always the alpha. I love those reversal plays. Sometimes we got them, some days you don't, because I'm hunting for the short off 15,000, but that's the other play. Just join it. You don't even have to take the breakout. You can just wait for it to prove that it's support and then buy it the second time. Or like wait for the confirmation that it's going to bounce there and then get it like that time there. Like you don't always have to assume it's going to happen. You can just wait patiently. If that never sets up, it never sets up. And if it does, you know, welcome to getting $1 long on Coinbase. I can't remember the last time I was long Coinbase, to be honest with you. And that probably should change at some point.
Yeah, for sure. We're not trying to let our bias be too much affected there by Coinbase.
I know for that stock in particular, if there's one stock that I always find myself looking in one direction, with the exception of DWAC, it's probably Coinbase.
Yeah, for sure. That's why we know the high levels, not the low levels on that name. Okay,
So true.
just real quick right now, we're going to spin it here because finally Tesla starting to go. And I just feel like we traded this one really well. We got back into the 50 period, took it out when it hit the highs of 231. Then we got it again down here at 229.50, took it out at 230.25. So although right there we dropped it for flat, we still held 60% out, reloaded it out, reload out because we were like broke the 50. We're nervous heading into the close, but then reloaded it and out again. Let's just see if it wants to continue to work, right? All right, and then we had a reload a little bit up here. We were waiting for much higher. It's too bad because if I was just using this high, we would already be short right about there, and now we'd be able to really ring the register on Google, but at the same time, I was giving it to 129. So if that one doesn't continue to work out, we can get out of the way of Google pretty soon. But I'm just hoping for lower move now as we are bidding 40 and then 35 and then into here, 120. I mean, I'm about to put this out. Who knows? Sometimes we say that if you don't put anything out, you can't get filled. 128.20 or so, just because that is where the 200 period is. I'd hate for it to come down there. I don't have an order. It wipes it, and then there you go. We are now only minutes away from the imbalance locator from populating. So once that does populate, and again, because I just logged out and back in, I don't have any of the old ones. We're going to get rid of ARCA. So nothing in here right now, and then we will see at 350, it will populate. As of right now, we have no change. Brendan just hollered at us. So it's still 476 million to buy. So, okay, now Google's, give me that fill.
Awesome.
All right,
Holy
good fill there on
crap,
Google as we're starting to dump down a little bit here. So yes, sir, putting us back. Well, we were never red on Google, but this putting us back in charge of this name as it's starting to fade out a little bit now. Only 15 cents in the money. I'm getting a little bit nervous again here. So let's just tap out a piece. I hate to do this, of Tesla right there. We'll tap some out at 97. It's okay. It's a long. It's fine. It's a win. It's fine. Keep telling myself that it's fine to get a piece out there. But just watching Google fall down, we have much more risk associated with this position than we do of the Tesla position. So let's take out some more there on Tesla because realistically, I'm hoping for a breakdown now finally. Look at this. Bounce off the 50 period. Bounce off the 50. Bounce, bounce, bounce. And we're right here again, so we could bounce one more time. So let's start taking out some of our Google because we're short, and then let's also take out some of our Tesla in case it doesn't, or it does fail that 50 period. It might have been a good out for us there on Tesla. Google, we don't know, that's still pending, and Tesla right now just bouncing around 230. So again, the initial take was 230, able to stay afloat on this name because we've been averaged into it at lower levels with our target out, a break of right here. 229.45. We break lower, then we snap out of that one and watch, hopefully, as Google comes tumbling back in. And there goes X again.
I should have stayed long U.S. Steel. Obviously, I was like, yeah, 32 is resistance. Just get out there. That was the wrong call, no question about it. Just continues to go. But there was someone said in the chat. I just want to see what made you not trade Nvidia prior to earnings. your feedback on trading. I did trade Nvidia today. I feel like obviously hindsight is always 2020. There's no question about that. I was trading off of the 450 level, so I shorted it in at the morning. Actually, it was working, got a buck, and then stopped out just above break even. I had the long back into that level, good scalp trade. Then I had the breakout at 55. I set a stop, went into a meeting, and then never got back into it. It trailed me out. Possibly, I don't want to blame it on this dark pool wicks, because I don't really know how far it went down into this move. It's possible I got wicked out on a dark pool. That was kind of BS, but there's always a chance that maybe it did trade far enough that I was going to get stopped on that no matter what. I wasn't sitting here, so I don't know. That's what happens when you get up. But I should have found a way to get back into this. There were plenty of consolidation breaks. The 60 level was obviously pretty good. Even here at 62, not bad. Like the 65, when it eventually broke away from 65, there's places to have gone to. And unfortunately, you know, some days you just don't sniff it out. But yeah, we were trading it. I was this morning prepared to be playing off that 50 level, and that worked for the long, or the reversal into the long. Just did not stick with it. Stick-to-itiveness. Not that that's a word, but it's definitely a thing in trading. You want to be able to stick with it, and sometimes it's easier to say than it is to do. So I'll be up on Nvidia, but never happy with something like that. When you look at a chart like that, let me just go back for a second. When you look to a chart like this, no matter what, even if you're up on it, it doesn't matter. You know that you should have a bunch of executions in the long. Like there should be at least 4 or 5, maybe 6 places where I like that long today, instead of just a couple, and one of which I didn't even hold to target. So it happens. All you can do is go on to the next, but the imbalances just dropped. So let me quickly get to that for you. I have stops. I'm guessing there's some buy imbalances here based on what just happened in a couple of names. Kenvue again, 1.8 to sell, J&J to buy. That's still something happening with that spin-off. Google, 1.5 million to buy. Apple, 1 million to buy. Amazon, 900,000 to buy. This is all buy side. Palantir, 750 to buy. Micron, 600 to buy. Yeah, why even wait for Intel to take out the top? It's right at my stop. Actually, it hit to 10 anyways. Marvell hasn't broken the high just yet, but pretty much everything. Nvidia, 500,000 to buy. This has got, it's only 1.8 billion to buy. I was about to actually say I was expecting that to be easily over 2 billion to buy based on the names we're reading out there, but it's only 1.8. Still, it's going to cause a bit of a jaunt upside. Nvidia popped to a fresh high of the day. I got out of Intel. It broke the top. Marvell seemingly hasn't, but that's probably just a matter of time. And AMC, for some reason, doesn't want to stop me out nor go any higher. But yeah, it just actually bounced off that 310. I'll just take the offer here while I can.
Yeah, AMC just wants to stone cold chill all the time, it seems like, Neil.
Well, except for the short this morning.
All afternoon.
The play was short this morning. I just thought it would do a dead cat bounce, and the AMC can't even do that. On a day where the market's going ham, AMC can't even do a dead cat bounce.
But meanwhile, I mean, there's Tesla right now. So we talked about how we were playing that name. There it is, man. We take $1. Obviously, you don't see any red marks on here. So Tesla's been a good name for us here into the close today. So boom, goes the dynamite on that one. And it's nice that Tesla's going to the upside. And, I mean, we're actually getting literally the best of both worlds right now, because going to the downside comes the name that we're short, which is coming into Google right now. It went to 50 there and we got a piece out. Remember, we're short at 60. I want to hold this for a much bigger move to the downside here today. So hopefully that will come out. We are very, very light, almost out of everything now on Tesla. The fact that it came back to 231 there, we'll take that over and over and over again. So let's wait to see if that once again comes into play for us. Hopefully a lot lower on Tesla so we can get long in our own accounts. But for right now, we are getting out of everything because we have to be flat at the end of every single day. But this is the one for me right now. We've talked about that. Let's see what happens with Google. I do have a bid at 35. We haven't been able to get filled on that. Hopefully that will change immediately, like right now. And we'll be able to get a fill, and then we'll work off of that. So nice downside move so far for us in the market. Let's just see if it holds this bid. It's at the 50 period. So again, we just wind up missing that Google out at 35. So I guess maybe 40 is the best we can get. Let's just put some bids at 40. We'll just actually punch out there and wait for that 35 to come through, hopefully.
Yeah, just remember in 2 minutes at 355, a lot of these large imbalances is usually a pairing event. So when you see J&J and Kenvue up here for a few million, I'm expecting at 55. Like if big ones stay or get bigger, you can get a nice trade off that continuation, or you can look for reversal plays when these pair off. Some of the NASDAQ ones have already started to pair. You do see like Apple down to 500,000, Amazon down to 500,000. So a lot of them have already started pairing off. As you see, we're back underneath that 15,000 mark. Someone had just mentioned Lamb. That's the only reason I have it up. I'm only in Marvell left because it has managed to not break the top. So it's still holding the last reload we had. I've probably put some bids in the 90s because we're running out of time. But if it takes out the high, this is now pretty binary for me. If a lot of those buys pair off, you could still have a bit of a flush. The good news with this name is I feel like it's going to be sort of easy to maybe have this one off of Nvidia the way it's been trading, like Nvidia continuously making highs and this not wanting to break past resistance, which does set up, if Nvidia starts flushing and you don't catch that, this can be in play. But obviously with the market running higher, this is holding mostly flat. There was one good short when it made that last push, but since then it's just been going sideways, which is good if you're short and the market's going up, but you still need some follow through. 1 minute ago till we get that pairing event, I mean, Nvidia is going to get to 470 here, which is absolutely insanity.
Wow.
Like this is, I mean, isn't
Right
that
back to
exactly?
its highs, man.
Oh, Danielle was saying 480, right?
That's its high.
Yeah, that's the high. It's 480 almost on the dime, by the way.
Yeah.
And we're now $10 going into earnings. We're going to be $10 away from the high, and earnings aren't for a couple of days.
Well, we saw Apple get faded off earnings. We
Eventually,
saw Microsoft.
yes, yeah.
We saw all those names get hit off earnings. So I think that there is more to come, obviously, for Nvidia, and hopefully it's not pain. But I'm not super excited. I'm excited for the report because I think it's going to bring us a lot, obviously. Trading opportunities, more and more to come every single day. I mean, we're here to bring them to you as we see them. I'm still waiting to get filled on Google. Did we get it? Oh, we did get a 35 print on that flip over. So I'm now out of that. We did get our 39, so we'll ring some registers here today as Google has been real profitable for us. And I'm trying to get, we're already $2. Did we say $1 or $2? Because right now it is $2. Trying to go into the dollar club right now for Tesla. We're going to wait for 232. I mean, our goal was 232.50, but we have to be flat at the end of every single day, so we will take Tesla here to the north side and be able to cash out a little bit of this here into the close. So far, so good. Thank you for watching. We do have the after show coming up as well. We'll have Michael Noss coming on, talk a little bit about something. Here we go. Tesla upside right now. I'm here at 80, or what am I at? 90s? Maybe we just go to 80s and take this out. Nice move upside right now for Tesla. Can it continue? Can it continue? Who cares? We just rang the register right there, so we'll go a little slap for ourselves back and forth there. For that, that's $2 right there out for Tesla. No point. If it continues to run, it continues to run. But that's, you know, for me anyways, a good little look there on Tesla to end the day. So again, thanks for watching. I hope everyone is able to make a little bit of money on that Tesla. Again, learning more and more every day. We said that was really the only trade that we should have took there into the close. Thankfully, Google was really good. We did lose a little bit on AMD, but if you're just $2 right there on Tesla makes up for everything else, as AMD was. Actually, AMD we got out of the way real early. We got out of the way of AMD at 3 o'clock. So we didn't have to worry about any of that. Actually, I don't even know why I'm talking about it. That was fine. It's more just this Google reload that we never got stopped out of. So yeah, Tesla and Google here into the close. So, you know, really happy that we have those two for you. Only 3 minutes left right now into the close. I guess we just have to close this Google trade out as we sit.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. If I don't get stopped out the high of the day, then I'll just take flat on the trade. It looks like we're probably going to be able to get it. There is this thing moving around here, DLB. I didn't want to interrupt, but I don't know what this is, DLB, but 1.5 million to sell, and it did make a big move. This is an example of this came out of nowhere. Like, you didn't see it on the imbalance locator before, and then I saw it pop up at 1.5 after the 355 update. It then tanked 86 to 85.50 on one big candle, and decent sized move there. It looks like it's pairing off already. I'm just going to cancel some stop orders, as I said. Marvell, the first time through good, the second time through, essentially it just holds out for flat, but it definitely showed me that it's relatively weak compared to Tesla. If there's one mistake I made, it's getting away from US Steel to the long side and getting away from Nvidia to the long side. I'm going right back to the well. I'll be back on this bid tomorrow, no question about it. You almost have to. It's been the strongest name well, one of the strongest names this afternoon. But there are some earnings to get to, not a heck of a lot. You're going to be covering a big one after the bell. That's going to be Zoom, obviously. The rest is getting prepped for tomorrow morning when you're going to get Macy's. Big retailers this week. You get Macy's, you get Gap as well. Dick's Sporting Goods, not much of a trade. Baidu, a potential mover. Lowe's, I don't really think that's going to be too much of a play on Lowe's, but we've seen these retail names have moves before. Just shout out to Home Depot, which actually did have a pretty volatile day on its earnings play, but that's more before the bell. It's all about Zoom after market with Sean today.
All right, unfortunately, we'll just have to get out of Google right here at 40. Well, we discussed the 42s as it's dropping down now into the 30s, but with only a minute left. We are now out, but we did get our 35, which was really where we were sitting. So again, no. Oh yeah, I guess actually I was just saying, didn't we get stopped out on Google? Yeah. So we did our one spot, let it settle down, and then we're just like, nah, we believe in the short and got back into it. So there's Google. Unfortunately, the good thing is a lot of these bottom ticks we actually have. So we don't have too much up here. We have a lot down here, which now, of course, is going to collapse into the close. We could be mad about our outs there, but we cannot be disappointed with our outs right here because that's Tesla, and we pretty much have the high of the day there at 232. We got 231.70, 78, 79, something like that. Oh no, what did we get? It says 80. No, I thought it was 79. It was 78. Okay, so 231.78 right there as our out. Yeah. With 1 minute left, it gets volatile. There goes Google.
Always.
Making a move to the downside. Ramin will be on the bell.
They just gave up. I'm not in Marvell anymore. I don't know why that's still showing. I am flat.
Yeah, I'm flat.
On the day now. But the NASDAQ now rejecting that 15,000. Intel's a 1 million sell at the end of the day because obviously it is. So that's how it is. But look, at the end of the day, you have to have outs. I wouldn't trade without them, and you cannot regret the fact when you get stopped out and it goes because you follow your rules. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and ring it. All the clapping in the back. Just the thing that I was watching, again, I'm flat. I'm not in that Marvell, but that big imbalance I was showing you guys on that DLB. I don't know if that's what these guys are clapping about. I'm just showing you. It actually did print near the lows, and there was an opportunity on the last pop that it got a pullback. Someone said it's Adobe something. I don't really know anything about the company. It showed up on the locator. I pulled it up. It stayed big. That SOS stock might have been no. SOS did not halt. SOS just went ham at the end of the day there. Got to 9 and I didn't see it halt anyways, but this stock is actually still moving in the aftermarket, doing that 5 million. That's the ADR that popped in the afternoon. But strong day overall for these markets. You cannot complain about a 1.5% day. Even if we're pulling back off 15,000, it's a good start to the week.
All right, what's up? Here's Spinomaster. Thank you so much here. He's really excited for the flip over into the aftermarket show. Always great to hear your more in-depth analysis. So efforts are greatly appreciated. Hey, thank you so much. It is a lot of energy to be expelled here. 5.5 hours a day is a lot, but I'm here for all of you guys. Was requested, so we're going to continue to do that. Tesla making a little bit of moves here in the aftermarket. We can see if there's. I don't think. I looked. These guys are just excited. I don't think there was too much there. J&J. Yeah. I knew we were looking at that. Just wanted to see if there was anything else going down there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching here again today. What has been obviously a banger of a day here. I'm going to log out and start to head over there. I feel like, we do have Zoom. So I got to get over there and hopefully that will, trigger into some excitement for the close. So I'll see everybody back over there. Thanks Bears vs. Bulls again for a big day. Thanks Ramin for ringing that closing bell, baby.
Yeah, as always, thank you to the midday team. Of course, Sharif doing a fantastic job over there with Max. Breno always absolutely crushing it. Without further ado, I think Zoom is going to be out if it's not even out already. So let's get on over to the desk and then to the after show.
Hey guys, 4 o'clock. Let's get you caught up on how things wrapped up for the afternoon. A very positive day, specifically for tech, as we were saying. It was about the